Hello, you exquisite individuals, you happy ugly scamps of human beings. Welcome on into the Cultivating, the home of hedonism, here on this little corner of Twitch that we call twitch.tv/. Alan Vane. Also, thank you very much for the follow, you beautiful individual. I don't like to call people out just in case they're lurking, but you're very, very welcome here, you cheeky devils. How are you doing? How was your weekends, friends? How was your weekends? My weekend was chaotic as shit. Weird. Fun, but weird. But just a lot happened. First and foremost, Stupedia, thank you very much for spending 300 bits to play the Pajama Goblin sound alert that I completely forgot existed. Oh, wow. How you doing, Lunicorn? Hello, Aries Ptolemy. How's it going? I can't give a duck. Lunicorn, yeah, hello, you beautiful being. How's it going? Gilus, you cheeky little devil. Good evening. Hope everyone's as well as possible. Yeah, doing all right, doing okay. Pastor Van, how you doing? Milky Pork, you cheeky little devils. What is going on with all this chat stream shenanigans going on here? Hey, sunshines. What's happening? What are you talking about? What's going on here? Senda, hello, you cheeky little devil. How's it going? I needed something a bit heavier today, so we started the starting soon screen with a little bit of Neo Cryptid because I've been listening to clubland music and hard house music, which is not my cup of tea at all in any way, shape or form. I have met international jet-setting DJs, people that literally travel the entire world being like club DJs in these like big stadiums and street parties and clubs, and they literally travel all over the world, and I didn't know who a fucking single one of them were. I didn't know who any of them were. Had some really nice conversations, like really nice people, but I had no fucking clue who any of them were. No idea. Oh, and some 90s pop stars that again didn't know who they were. No idea who they were. Raza, how you doing?
Panda to it.
Good lord.
Evening beans. Walking the dog is perilous. Heckin' windy.
Yes, Rach. Earlier on, the storm hit here, and it was literally horizontal rain. It just flowed in a horizontal angle, and I was like, wow, that's intense. That is intense. A bird shit hit the back window earlier today, and it hit it with such force, I thought it was going to break the window. It was a fucking bird shit. It was intense. Thank you very much for the 100 little pandas, you cheeky devil.
Subscribe.
Gilus.
Most kind.
Coming in for the 15 months.
Well, that's what that button does.
Yeah. I'm surprised, Gilus, that you didn't notice that the first 14 times you did it. Surprised you didn't notice it the first 14 times you did it. But I'm glad that you now know what it is. Hopefully you'll remember not to press it next time, right? Right? Yeah? No 16 months, just we'll stop at the 15, right?
Yeah,
hey?
Subscribe.
Stupedia!
Most kind.
Someone came up to me the other day and said they spilled my Scrabble set all over the road. I said, what's the word on the street?
I hope they said fuck. What's the word on the street? Fuck. Gilus and Stupedia. Gilus coming in for the 15 months and Stupedia coming in for the 43 months. Good lord. Both of your names are inscribed on the Mirror of Fame, which means you get access to my personal Snapchat, not a bum Snapchat, you cheeky devils, and of course you get access to all the sexy little emotes. But the most important thing is you go roll over every morning, look in the mirror, and go, God, I look rough. But God damn, do I make rough look good. Ooh, harra, sexy, oh yes, meow, you know? You cheeky devils. I have actually lost, you'll notice that there's a very orange light coming at me from this angle here. It's because I forgot. I went to did an event, which I'll tell you all about in a bit. But I left one of my power cables to the lights that I use in the event. So I am without my usual lighting setup until I can get to that back to the venue to get the power cable back. I thought I had a spare one, but I don't. So I'm bumble fucking my way through. You know. Where was I? Simba, how you doing? How's it going? Razot, you cheeky little devil. Can't give a duck. From the hospital. Oh lordy. Oh god. Yes, friends. PSA, drink water and eat things with fiber in them. Yes, very much so. Look after your health. Cheeky devils. Chandria, cheeky devil, come here, you. What do you like claiming cheeky kisses, you beautiful individual? Yeah, beautiful bean. You, Ayla Zana, how you doing, you beautiful bean? Milky pork, you cheeky little devil. As someone who has had kidney stones, you can convert, drink your oiter. Drink your water, friends. Drink your H2O. You know? As the grandchild and child of people born with only one kidney. Hydrate or die straight, friendos. Only one kidney. Well, I never. When I was a child, I believed that I had both of my kidneys removed. That was the entire time. Not replaced. Not replaced. Removed. My parents at one stage told me that I had a little bit of jaundice when I was born. My kidneys weren't working properly, so I had a little bit of jaundice when I was born. And for some reason I managed to convert that from you had a little bit of jaundice when you were born to you had your kidneys surgically removed. No scars, not a scar on my body, but somehow I have no kidneys. Somehow, you know, which is good because, you know, the amount of alcohol I've consumed over the years is probably wise that I don't have kidneys, you know? Yeah, now. Gay friendos need to hydrate too. This is true. All of the hydrations. Hydrations, friends. Hydrations, you cheeky little devils. Zooey Booey, how you doing, you beautiful individual? Welcome on in. How's it going? Master, I have returned.
Hand to it.
Hello Valen, hello chat. I was out the other day buying some odds and ends. I ran into a friend and they asked if I had got a haircut. I smiled and said yes, a lot of them actually.
Oh my god, Daha. Good lord. Good lord. Thank you very much for the 100 little panderings. Look what you've done. Look what you've done, you cheeky devil. Monkey Mel, hello, you beautiful bean. How's it going? I was chatting to Monkey Mel earlier today. Having a little old natter, stunning in the purple. I was feeling the purple today. Woke up and I was like, purple. Feeling the purple. Yes, very much so. Very much so. My weekend was fun, especially yesterday. What did you get up to? Tell me all about it. Doing the best today, but better for being here. Love to hear it. You are very, very welcome here. Also, Nibirin, I didn't actually say hello to you. I just read your words. Thank you very much for coming in. How you doing, Nibirin? How was your weekend? He got you good over the weekend? Master, I has returned. Rach, hello, you cheeky devil. Gilus, you beautiful being coming in for the 15 months. Good lord. Stupedia coming in for the 43 months. And creating your little pyramid. The fact that you managed to do it was pretty impressive. You managed to get the whole pyramid in there. Impressive. Impressive, Stupedia. Chandri, cheeky devil. Scuba Lou, hello, you beautiful being. Shy High came in with a raid on the 3rd day. I appreciate that. You come in, and thank you very much for coming back then, Scuba Lou. Thank you very much for coming back. You could literally have just disappeared into the ether, being like, no, I will never visit that peculiar individual ever again. But you didn't. You came back. You must be a glutton for punishment. It's the only thing that explains it, right?
Yeah, subscribed. Most kind.
Impromptu section. Oh my god, Razor. I genuinely thought I was going to get away with that. I was like, ooh, it's 79% of level 1. If I just stay quiet, keep reading the chat, no one will notice. It's all good. Just stay all hushed.
Peek at you. Peek at you. Peek at you.
Impromptu section. Your name is now described upon the mirror vein. By having your name upon the mirror vein, it means you get access to my personal Snapchat. Not a bum Snapchat, you cheeky devil. And of course, you get access to all the sexy little emotes. But the most important thing is you'll roll over every morning, look in the mirror, and go, God, I look rough. But god damn, do I make rough look good. Ooh, sexy. Oh, yes, me. Yeah, you know. Good lord. Razor, thank you very much for that gifted sub there. I appreciate you. Itchy nose. Chandria, how you doing, you beautiful bean? What was your evidence of this? Well, that I had no kidneys. Just purely the fact my parents said that I had jaundice when I was a child. And therefore, that naturally escalated in a completely normal way. You know? Arrays, hello, how you doing? With a 45 streams in a row you've been streaking through here. Bloody Nora. There's a storm out. What are you doing streaking? What are you doing streaking all over the place when there's a storm out? Windy. You get all of the flappy bits be well and truly flapping in this wind. Good lord. Good lord. What you like? How old when you found out that you still have them? Please say 20.
Yeah,
No, I won't quite that old. Like 15. Like 15. Oh my god. Rach! Thank you very much for giving that sub to Cirque du Shit Show. Oh, it was so bad. We'll talk about it in a minute, friends. We'll talk about it in a minute, but it was bad. It was bad. Cirque du Shit Show. By having your name on the mirror of any means, you get access to my personal Snapchat, not a bum Snapchat, you cheeky devil, and of course you get access to all those sexy little emos, but the most important thing is you gotta roll over every morning, look in the mirror, and go, God, I look rough. We go, damn, do I make rough look good? Ooh, sexy, ooh, yes, me, you know? Hello, what's up? What's up? Things are good, things are alright. I've realized that I haven't had enough sleep this weekend. I've not had enough sleep this weekend, but overall, things are good. I'm just very, like, tired. Just a sleepy boy today. Just a sleepy boy today, you know? My grandmere only had one. Got a good portion removed due to the big C, so she only had a quarter of a kidney for all the time that I knew her. Wow. Mom has one, but apparently it's the size of two, so I'm lucky enough to have both. Hopefully Minnie Harris will both have. Yeah, I would imagine so. I would imagine so. That's wild, though. That is an interesting genetic alteration, you know? An interesting genetic bypass? I don't know. Well, how would you describe it? Deviation? Mutation, perhaps? Like my teeth. My teeth are a genetic mutation. Had a Zoom psychiatry appointment today. My brain is fried. They made me bring up things that I'd forgotten that had happened, and I hit high for anxiety, depression. They put me on 20 milligrams of Lexapro. Well, if that's what you need, Chandra, if that's what you need, then that's okay. That's all right. That's not a problem. And that's the whole point of therapy. As the whole point of therapy is to work through the things that you struggle with, even things that you've forgotten, you know? That's the whole point of it. Renat, how you doing, you beautiful individual? I thought that a thorn I trod on got into my bloodstream and would try to grow out of me somewhere. Yeah, I remember like swallowing apple seeds when I was a kid and feeling like I was gonna have an apple like grow out of my body. It was like, oh no, but my stomach, the stomach water will make it grow and it'll sprout, and then suddenly I'll be like a tree will grow inside me and then I will die. No. Yeah, I remember those. Remember those days. Remember those days. Thank you for the best night I've had in Noodle Ages. You're very welcome, Monkey Mel. It was a good chat. Good chat. Started with a little bit of advice. From me and my very interesting experience of streaming and whatnot. And then turned into just me ranting about stuff. Absolutely. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, and all genders outside and between, if you have raid train? No. If you have hype train emotes, could you please throw them out now to say a massive thanks to all those people that subbed, that gifted sub, that threw all those cheeky little bitties out there. I would really appreciate it. I'd really appreciate you throwing them out there. Say a massive thank you to all those beautiful people.
Panda to my ego. Panda to it. Panda to it.
He's already gone.
I had a dream last night that I was cutting carrots with the Grim Reaper. Dicing with death. Conjunctivitis that's a sight for sore eyes.
Only the two? Only the two? Good Lord, Stupedia. Thank you very much for 100 little panderings. Good Lord. Maybe you're just a glutton for pun. Ishman. Good. Milky Pork. Come on. Come on. I knew I'd be back. You're as crazy as my brain is. My brain likes brain watches. I'll take that. I'll take that. In which case, Scoobaloo, I am glad that I could provide that delightful, tantalizing amount of dopamine for you. You know? I'm glad that I can fulfill your dopamine quota today. There is a lot of peculiar and interesting things that happen in my brain. It has to be said. It has to be said. Ooh. Bear with. Okay, cool. All good. All good in the proverbial hood. Tinks, hello, you beautiful individual. How's it going, my flamboyant flamingos? No, that's Vithika's stream. Vithika is all the flamingos. We are just the hedonists. Hedonists extraordinaire, you know? Lunicorn coming in with the 85 stream streak. You've been streaking through here for 85 streams. And yeah, you're right. It is a lot of streaking. Too windy for this. It's too bloody windy. Too bloody windy. Good Lord. Like, I was running around naked in the wind earlier on, and my phallus became like a harmonica. It was bloody ridiculous, all right? Don't ask me how that works, but it does, all right? It just does, okay? Just does. Links, hello, you beautiful being. How's it going? Grim Memento, you cheeky devil. The shirt is a beautiful color. I thank you. I'm also wearing, like, purpley pendants today. Purpley pendants to go with the purpley shirt. You know how it be. The earliest manifestation of my OCD I can remember was when I was reading the epilepsy warning in a game manual and freaking out that my random eye twitch was epilepsy. Couldn't let the thought go until I spoke with my grandmother, who was a nurse. Wow, okay. Just like, it just kept cycling in your brain, the nerves, the anxiety about it, until you spoke to a medical professional. I get that. I feel like when I was an infant child, I probably was quite similar. And then I hit my teenage years and just stopped giving a shit about everything. Just stopped caring, you know? Keeping you on your toes? Keeping on 2 toes. Just 2 toes, Stupedia. Not many more than that. Just the 2 toes.
There you go. Panda to it. Panda to it.
Interesting fact, electrons might live forever. Scientists have estimated the minimum lifetime of the electron is about 6.61028 years. This is 66,000 yoteas. Since this is about 5 quintillion times the age of the universe, even if electrons don't live forever, they may as well do.
That's wild. That's wild. That's melted my little brain a little bit. What's that theory that everything eventually degrades? There's a theory. Does that just not apply to that anymore then? Is that what's going on there? By the way, the little mark on my wrist is makeup. It's not a rash. Just before anybody freaks out. How's it going, Alexander Griffin? Hello, you jiggy devil. Can I get a shout out for Hey Alexander Griffin, please? I would really appreciate that. I would really appreciate that.
There's also a theory that there is just one electron, and it is woven back and forth through time. So every time we see it, it's the same one in a different place and time. Yeah,
I've heard that. Razal. That there's only one electron, and it just goes that quickly that it's everywhere at once. Does that mean that... yeah, that's it. Entropy. Thank you very much, Razal. Entropy. Does entropy just not affect electrons? Is that what's going on there? Is that what's happening? People, go check out my dear friend, Hey Alexander Griffin. They are wonderful and glorious. They're spectacular. They're having a good time. They're a glorious, happy-go-lucky scamp of an individual. A very emotive gamer. Feels all of the emotions inside. Whereas I'm a withered husk of an individual. If you want to see somebody play a game with true emotion, go watch Hey Alexander Griffin. I would just bumblefuck my way through stuff and am a withered husk of a human being, you know? No, you don't have to deal with that shit. You don't have to deal with that shit. Whereas true gamers like to feel that shit, you know? Also, can I get a shout out for Monkey Mel as well, please? I would appreciate that. I would appreciate that. Dapper Cogsworth, hello, you cheeky devil. I'm behaving because you're having an ish day. Well, you are very welcome here. As always, Dapper Cogsworth. As always, you beautiful being. Don't you fret about having a behaving day or an ish day or what have you. You're always welcome. Yeah, I thought we were peacocks.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Most kind.
Yeah.
Brain equals soup.
Panda to my ego.
Blah,
Panda
blah,
to it.
blah, blah.
Panda to it.
The last wedding I was at was very emotional. Everybody was crying. The bride and groom, the whole reception, the priest. Even the massive cake was in tears.
Oh my god. That was awful. Good lords, Badian. Bloody Nora. Friends, also go check out my dear friend Monkey Mel. They are also a delightfully chaotic individual. All of the chaos and shenanigans happen over there. They've just been doing a subathon, and some of definitely some of the more inventive rewards that I have seen on a subathon, I have to say. Been a good laugh, Tinks, how you doing? How's it going? My mum said that you should eat seeds from apples because it'll grow. My mum said you shouldn't eat seeds out of apples because it'll grow a tree out of me. I sat there and ate them, and my mum asked why, and I said that I wanted to have a tree friend, and then she made them into apple pie slices afterwards, so I couldn't get the seeds. Yep. Completely understandable. Yeah, oh my god, it'll grow a tree and then it'll be my tree friend. Not thinking, like, my brain went the other way. I was like, I'll have a fucking branch popping out my eyeball, one out my ear. It'll tear me in two. It'll be bad times. Bad times already. Bad times all round, you know? Oh, what did I miss? Oh, you didn't? No, sorry. I didn't miss anything. It's all good. I just misread something. That's okay. You don't have to be on Lexapro forever, but it can absolutely help, especially if you're unpacking trauma in therapy. I've done a lot of healing in the past 3 years, and yes, it's been painful at times, but absolutely worth it. DMs are open if you ever like sounding board. Thank you very much for that, Rach. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you, you beautiful bean. How you doing, Zabadi? And how's it going, you beautiful bean? Loving the purple. It's a little bit different. A little bit different on the old purple, you know. Gotta be done every so often. Gotta throw it out there, you know, just shits and giggles. Why not? Eh? Why not? It's a constant cycle. There is no entropy for electrons, so they say. Some say the Valence Spindly Goblin Cock is like a weather vane and points in the erection of the wind. Fucking hell, Stupedia. That was loose. That was loose at best, Stupedia. Good lord. Fucking hell. Entropy, yes, Links. Yeah. Will the universe implode when electrons die? How do you make new electrons? Come on, science people. Where do electrons come from? Because if electrons have that length of lifespan, then does that mean we could get to a point where we're overpopulating the universe with electrons, and therefore they just annihilate everything because they tear through everything at all times? When a mummy electron and a daddy electron, or two mummy electrons, or two daddy electrons. You really want me to explain electrons on Twitch chat? I just want to know how they appear. How do they come into existence? That's what I want to know. Don't need all of the other bits and pieces. Just the bit of how they come into existence. How are they born? You know? You have makeup on your arm now. You only have 1 year to live. What? No, not that. Normally, friends, as many of you who have ever seen me put makeup on in the past, you will know that I use this wrist as like a color palette. All right, I use this wrist as a color palette. So I dab all my makeup on there, and I wipe it off here, and I dab it on my face. Dab, 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 dab. Dab, 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 dab. That's how I do all my makeup. All right. Now, normally, I have a little fucking bog roll, a little toilet roll here on my desk so that I can wipe that shit off before stream. However, I don't at the moment. There is none. So I don't have the ability to wipe it all off. So it's there. You can see it. It's like a slightly off-colored orangey shit that's going on my wrist. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. All right. Shaden Sunshine, you cheeky devil. Brain equals soup. Blah, 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 blah. Coming in for the 46 months. Good lord. You cheeky devil. I shall now inscribe your name upon the mirror vein. I have your name upon the mirror vein. It means you get access to my personal Snapchat. Not a bum Snapchat, you cheeky devil. And of course, you get access to all those sexy little emotes. But the most important thing is you got to roll over every morning, look in the mirror, and go, God, I look rough. But goddamn, don't make rough look good. Ooh, sexy. Oh, yes, me. Yeah, you know. Yeah, no. Whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I film weddings. I've heard this too much. Oh my god. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Just like we like them, don't you even? Right, hold on. They're Swiss made. All of the electrons are made in Switzerland. Okay, I see. Physics with Dr. Phil Lizard. I just want to know. You know what I mean? They come into existence. Ah, right. Okay, so every single time I ejaculate, they just appear from the ejaculate. Late on an evening when I'm alone in bed. Oh, just you. Oh, right. Okay, so you're the only one. The fountain of all electrons is actually called Stupedia. I see. Whereas Dapper Cogsworth gets theirs from Timu. Okay. You mean lose existence or as part of an atom together with protons and neurons? Because if we go into the start of protons, electrons, and neurons before the stage of atoms, we need some very deep physics lessons before we get to the basic matter. I mean, my understanding was that everything comes from something. And like all elements are like basically crafted in the heart of stars and then shoot off into the universe and all that jazz. But then surely electrons have to come from somewhere. And if electrons' lifespan is how many 66,000 Yoto years or whatever it was, or Yoto light years or something, then does that mean there is a finite amount of electrons? Because, or does it mean that we're getting too many electrons? What happens if there's too many electrons? Do we all just do the fandango and fall apart, or is there like a way that electrons and I, not even we, and I can live together in harmony? These are the questions I have, right? Will it be dark matter? Only if they turn the lights off. Yeah, you see, I did one too, you fucks. How's it going, Poppy darling? Hello, you cheeky devil. The Large Hadron Collider. Oh, the Large Hard-On Collider. Ah, that makes more sense. That's the one. Yeah, Dr. Phil Thwizzard. That's the one. Just clean my keyboard today. That's productivity. Good for you. Good for you, Lunicorn. I did a couple of little bits and pieces today, but I've had a rather slow day today. My brain's just not been fully awake all day. It's been trying, but it's not been fully awake all day. You know. Although Senpai is taking it seriously and the rest of us are taking it. Oh, yeah. Senpai knows how to joke, but also I genuinely asked the question. It was a genuine question. I'm good with people making jokey answers, but I still want to know the answer. I still want to know. I still want to know what's going on, right? You know? Clip it quick. Don't you even, Stupedia. Good lord. Electrons can be formed by bombarding neurons with high energy rays. And then the neutron can split into a proton and an electron. So they also formed in the heart of stars using big juju solar fusion or what have you. M equals E divided by C squared. Mass and energy are interchangeable. Electrons can turn into light or heat, and light or heat can turn into electrons. Oh, so if all of the electrons in the entire universe, Shackle, turned into light and heat, which presumably is one and the same thing in that regard, then the universe would cook, right? Yes? We'd just be in one giant microwave. Only it wouldn't be microwave. We'd be in one giant electron wave. Semi-lurking while editing some videos, but also picked up a new mic as my previous one kicked the bucket the moment I clicked go live. No, boo! Boo and his Milky Pork. But I'm glad you got a new one. What did you get? What new one did you get? I spent a lot of time on Friday working out how to make the Rode NT USB. No, the Rode, not NT USB, the Rode Pro 2s work with a camera in a loud environment. Because I was working this weekend. It's a really spontaneous thing. I got a phone call on Tuesday. From a guy who runs a venue being like, hey, Val, what are you up to this weekend? And I was like, I've got a couple of things that I'm doing on Sunday, but overall, not much. Why? And he was like, cool, I've got this idea. Always a dangerous start. Always a dangerous start when people say, I've got this idea. Always. And the idea was that he was hosting a street party. So where the venue was, outside the venue was like a little street. It's like a side street. And they closed off the entire street, erected a stage at one end, had like a burger van and an outdoor bar, and had some like seated area, and like literally took over the entire street. They paid for the whole thing to be closed off. It was a big old street party. And he was like, I've got this idea that I want to get a host like you do, but I want to get a host to come down and host DJs. So you'll introduce each one of the DJs. And I was like, are you sure? Is that what you want to do? You want me to come and host DJs? I can do it. I've never done it before, but I can do it. That's not an issue. But generally speaking, to my knowledge, when a DJ is changing over to another DJ, they just blend the music in. So it literally blends from one DJ straight into the next DJ, so that there's never a stop in the music. It's not like a cabaret. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, don't worry about it. We'll make it work. I was like, all right, cool. I'll come down and see what it's like. I am not into clubland music. I'm not into hard house music. Those are not my genres. You know, I enjoyed listening to some of the tracks. They brought us back some nostalgia from when I was in the 90s when they were making club remixes of stuff, you know. But overall, it was definitely not my genre, not my cup of tea, you know. There was a street party. How unusual. I know. It was more down to the fact they closed off the street. You know, there's a different thing when like a neighborhood just take over a street versus like actually shutting the street and like blockading it off and everything, you know. But yeah, so he asked me to do that, and he asked me to also do some film interviews with these DJs. So I set up a camera, and I was like, do you have a camera? And he was like, I will find one. And I was like, right, I've got a camera. I've got a camera and I've got some microphones, so we can set something up. Don't worry, we'll sort something. It was a task, to say the least. I had a lot of education that I needed to shoehorn in, but I managed to get it all sorted and everything was set up. And if you saw my Instagram stories, you'll have seen he did specifically ask. He was like, can you do like the thing that you do, but like without the feathers? Yeah, sure, buddy. Sure, I can do that.
Hand it to me.
I can do that.
Hand it to it. Hand it to it.
They were going to name a street after Chuck Norris. Then they realized nobody can cross Chuck Norris and live.
Very valid. Very, very valid, to be fair. Thank you very much for 100 little panderings, Zabadian. Good lord. Good lord. I just spent 3 hours separating a huge bag of beads into different colors, being very therapeutic, but God, it takes ages. Yeah. I can imagine if you can get really into the flow of it, it could be quite therapeutic. It would drive me up the fucking wall, though. It would drive me up the wall. Felt not fully awake, and I'm struggling. Last night's shenanigans have exhausted you. Last night's shenanigans, eh? Last night's shenanigans. I see. See how it is. It was a genuine question. Where's the subtle sign then, Valen? I only have the subtle sign, Stupedia, during computer games. No backseat signs. All of the backseat signs. I'm literally asking for backseat signs. There's not enough energy to heat up the universe. Remember that electrons are very, very not heavy. But if they can turn into heat and then turn back from heat into electrons, what's stopping them heating? Like turning into heat? Is it the activity? Do they need to vibrate more? Can we get some Hitachi ones out and just make some powerful electrons going on in the universe? Electron waves, important question. Can you do T in it? Why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? Audio Technica. Oh, cool. Got a boom mic. So now I feel like a proper big fancy streamer. Huzzah! Love to see it. Love to see it, Milky Park. Love to see it. Love your shirt, Val. What is that shade? Good question. I always saw it as like a royal purple, but I think it's slightly more plum. It's like a slightly darker shade than plum. So I'm not entirely sure. I just saw it in the store and was like, oh my god. I've owned this shirt for fucking years, but I just don't wear it very often. Don't wear it very often, you know? So basically, they started during the Big Bang, and this is the most widely accepted theory. Yes, because Big Bang Theory is a theory at the end of the day, and a TV show, but we don't talk about that. Photons reached about 10 billion Kelvin. Then started to form pairs that turned into electrons and positrons. If those to interact again, they fall back apart into photon energy. After about 15 seconds in the after 15 seconds after the Big Bang, the universe cooled down enough to no longer be able to create things out of photons. And then the real physics starts. Oh. So is there like pre-Big Bang's physics? Is there study of physics of what happened in those 15 seconds prior to current physics, old man physics, or old person physics? You know, my current meditation project is taking full-size crochet Afghan patterns and making them into crochet thread using a 1.5 millimeter hook. That sounds like a huge task, Lynx. That sounds fucking massive. Not those shenanigans. Look, hey, look. I'm just gonna say, Eris, all right? You used the word shenanigans. You said you didn't get much sleep, and you said because of shenanigans in a nighttime scenario, okay? My mind is gonna go to one place and one place alone. One place and one place alone. Okay? Concert shenanigans. Okay, I got you. Very intrigued by the 15 seconds in between. Exactly, Nibirin. I want to know what happened in those 15 seconds. It was 15 very hot seconds. The kind of seconds that I would probably be able to make a really good cup of tea with. If I poured those 15 seconds into a mug, would the tea be full of flavor? Once I had to untangle a spool of yarn, 10 hours in, only half done. I quit. I stopped being therapeutic a couple of hours in, but I'm stubborn. Oh, wow. That is a level of dedication. That is a level of stubbornness that I would never be able to uphold. Ever. I would get the couple of hours in, and the moment it stopped being therapeutic, I'm like, right, I'm binning it. Binning it and start again. Don't give a shit. You know? It's a delicious shade. Thank you very much. I'm a big fan. Yes, very much so. Using a blue Yeti that I borrowed from my parents before, and this one has like no noise from the fan. That's good. That is good. Yeah, the Audio Technicas do make some very good microphones. A couple of the ones that I've seen in the past I've not been massive fans of, but they do. They're relatively good. Yeah, for sure. Favorite shade of purple, usually called Dancin'. After the plum. Ah, there you go. Plum purple. There you go. Want it on your wall? It's also gothy as fuck. It is quite gothy. I was feeling that way. You know what I mean? Feeling that way inclined for sure. That'd be gorgeous. Yeah. This is a slight shade darker from what my thing is. I suppose it's kind of like amethyst purple. Yeah, it's kind of like amethyst purple. Is one a better one? Maybe a little bit lighter than amethyst purple. Maybe. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. The 15 seconds are after the Big Bang. There's no pre-bang science that I'm aware of, because we can't see that. Ah, there's no pre-bang science. Where does the foreplay come in? Where's the pre-bang foreplay science? Ah, scientists. They're so relaxed. They're so lazy. The worst. After about 15 seconds, the universe cooled down enough for us to no longer be able to create things out of photons, and then the real physics starts. Sounds like the universe needed afterplay, and we are all for it. Yeah, the universe, this is all the universe's afterplay, Milky Pork. This is it. They've done one bang, and this entire millennia, several millennia that has happened since the Big Bang up until the next Big Bang is just like the touchy-feely bit. Aftercare. Started with a lot of aftercare, and now life is appearing again. And I say now life is appearing because in the grand scheme of the lifetime of the universe, the amount of lifetime that life has been on the earth is a very, very small amount. So that's like kind of like, you know, once you've done the day, had a real passionate, vigorous, slightly bruising lovemaking session, and then afterwards you're like and you cuddle for a little bit and you hold each other and you're like, oh, fan dandy. And then this bit where life has started again, that's where the hands start to wander again. Yeah, this bit. That's what's happening right now. Hands are starting to wander. Steadily but surely they'll make their way to the second bang. Right? There's a lot of science about the seconds after the Big Bang. A lot happened. It sounds like it. It sounds like it, I have to say, you know. Do I have a purple wall in my bedroom? The living room is various shades of pink and purple, and the dining room is teal and purple. But it's not this purple. This purple, I will say, as somebody who had a bedroom that was ever so slightly lighter than this purple, it is very light absorbent, and therefore you can't find fucking anything in the room. Especially if you have many black clothes like I do, you know. Your mind is in the gutter, and that's valid because same, yeah, oh yeah, 100%. Always in the gutter. Always in the gutter. Perpetually. You know? You might say everything happened. That is not too distant from what could potentially be considered the truth, for sure. MC Amazing, how you doing? How's it going? The color of your shirt is entrancing. Is it a jewel blue or a purple? It's definitely a purple. It's definitely a purple. But I can understand why it looks like a blue. It's also got like a mildly metallic sheen to it. Very, very subtle metallic nature to it. That's the reason why I bought it, was because it looked metallic-y. And that might be the reason why you're getting the whole, like, the jewel blue tones from it, you know? Didn't know you could eat colors? Oh, definitely. Definitely, Stupedia. How do you eat an orange? That wasn't even a pun. That was just straight up fucking facts. God damn it. All talking about it. Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. I can eat many things. An orange, a green, a yellow. So to answer the tea question, no, you can't make tea because 1 billion Kelvin makes it so hot that water does not exist. Yeah, that would be problematic. That would be less like a tea and more like one of those fumigator potties that Gwyneth Paltrow sits on to fumigate her vulva. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, that's too hot for boiling water. Too hot for tea. You know, just a fumigator more than anything else, you know. We're talking those shenanigans. The weekend just gone saw my boyfriend for the first time in a month. He's up in the Midlands. I'm down in Essex in university holiday, so you can imagine there may have been a few shenanigans. Good. Glad to hear it. Hope you had wonderful, wonderful times and shenanigans. Poppy darling, you beautiful bean. That sounds interesting. What was your favorite delicacy? Surely it's the teal. Teal's got to be tasting good, right? Teal's a good color. There you go, friends. What do you think is the most tasty color? I'll get banned if I answer. Amazing. What's the most tasty color, friends? I want a purple bedroom. My parents did not want my bedroom to be purple. My bedroom was not purple. So when I was growing up, when I was a plucky young gothic boy, I wanted a black bedroom. I wanted it all to be black. Paint all the walls black. And And my parents like, no, Val, not a fucking chance. You can't have black walls because that'll make the room dingy and dark and it'll be horrible. Just don't. No, you're not allowed it. So instead, I had teal walls with a glittery purple ceiling, a glittery lavender ceiling.
When snakes do 69, do they call it 11?
No, they call it the Ouroboros. There you go. They call it the Ouroboros. Mm-hmm. Put in the ass in Ouroboros. All right. Thank you very much for the 100 little panderings about it, and appreciate that. Fucking hell, what I was saying. Yeah, I had a teal room with a glittery lavender ceiling. And then when I got this house and I painted my bedroom black and like a deep like royal purple, my dad literally came around and he was like, fucking hell, I wish we'd let you paint your room black when you were a teenager. You would have grown out of all of this. And I was like, Dad, I'm like 36. What the fuck? I'm not going to grow out of this. I'm not going to do that. That isn't a fucking thing. All right? That isn't a thing. What's the most tasty color? The poll is up. Thank you very much, Sembar. Orange, green, yellow, blue, other. Those are your options. Those are your options. Get your votes in, friends. Thank you very much for that, Sembar. Appreciate that. Amazing. Amazing. Well, something must have been there because to cause the explosion in the first place. Yeah, I heard, Nibirin, that the Big Bang was actually caused because somebody left a fork in a microwave. Somebody left a fork in a microwave. Boom. Suddenly, universe. You know? Wanted a purple bedroom. Yeah. But yeah, no, I had a purple bedroom, and I will say I do like the fact that I've painted all the walls white now because it brings a lot more light into the room. But I do miss the purple bedroom. I do miss the purple bedroom for sure. You can have one now. Yeah, exactly. And then you have reached theoretical physics. I theorize that before the Big Bang, there was a lot of very nervous giggles. There was a little bit of fumbling. Probably some very confusing facial expressions of all participants as they were like, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. And slowly but surely, they worked their way up to the Big Bang. And it wasn't a good bang. It was just big, you know? It was the getting the job done bang. Other, the most tasty color. 33% of you said other. 29% said blues. 21% said yellows. 8% said orange. And 8% said green. Ooh. Interesting. I do feel like a nice pink has a lot of flavor. I feel like that's a good way of doing it, you know? How's it going today, Raven? How's it going? More in my purple bedroom, but the one wall to be exact. One wall of purple is pretty cool. I couldn't do like an accent wall. It just doesn't work in my brain. Just doesn't work in my brain, you know? To the deluxe color chart. Exactly. Just running around licking all these different colors. The yellow beige you're feeling. You feel like beige is a good flavor? I know exactly what beige tastes like, Tinks.
Hand it to my ego. Hand it to it. Hand it to it.
In the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. Expand on the quote. There is a theory which states that if ever anyone discovers exactly what the universe is for and why it is here, it will instantly disappear and be replaced by something even more bizarre and inexplicable. There is another theory which states that this has already happened.
Yep. Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Bit of Douglas Adams going on in there. Mm-hmm. Blancmange tastes beige. No, Quorn tastes beige. If you have ever had some just Quorn, Nothing on it. No like breaded fucking corn. No corn nuggets. Nothing like that. Just corn by itself. Like a slab of corn. It tasted the color beige. That is the flavor of beige. Say lavender purple would be quite delicious. I can work with that. I can work with that for sure. The tastiest color is Night Magic 4703. Oh wow. It's still a phase. Still a phase, right? Chartreuse, the only color that there is also an alcohol. Yeah. I also love the fact that when you've got like fuck, what's it called? Is it Curacao? Where you've got a ridiculously blue drink that tastes of orange. Or Curacao, potentially. Or blade chunk in that case if it was a fork. Yes. These phases from our teens last a while. My bisexual phase has been going on over 20 years. Exactly right. Those phases. Terrible, right? For the love of God, chat, do not leave a fork in the microwave. Not even... No, don't leave a fork in the microwave. Jesus. Yeah, do not do that. No metal in the microwave, friends. Don't. No. Let's be very clear. Ronin Kai, how you doing, you beautiful individual? Had something else. Someone had made tea with a microwave and the tea lover saw it and blew it up. Honestly, Zabadian. Accurate. The Big Bang could well have been someone as passionate as myself watching somebody else try and make a microwave tea and just getting that angry. Suddenly a universe forms, right? Who the hell puts the fork in the microwave in the first place? Exactly. Exactly. And no hamsters either. Yeah, don't play it. Yeah. Day of the Tentacle reference. Love it. I haven't played that game. Never played Day of the Tentacle. I watched Chunk play it a long time ago. I've never played it myself. Keep going with that and we'll end up watching Stream of Valor's shoes with a smoke coming out of them. It's so fucking true. I actually got rid of my microwave so we can never have a microwave tea ever again. It was probably a premature explosion while things balanced out. Probably, to be honest with you, Zeebs, that would make sense. That would make sense. Things that before the Big Bang, there was like a little bit of too much excitement, bit of a premature bang before the big one, you know, and then everyone had to calm down and sort of recuperate themselves a little bit, you know. The first ever blue steel caused the Big Bang, yeah. Yes. Hitchhiker's Guide. Do you know, I haven't seen Hitchhiker's Guide in fucking ages. Not the movie. I won't watch the movie again. I watched it once and I was like, this is shit. But like the old TV series. The old TV series. That was excellent. That was excellent. How's it going, Jam Jar? How you doing, you beautiful individual? Tastes like chicken? No. Corn tastes like, yeah, corn. Corn is corn. Corn is corn and it's tastes like the color beige. What color do mushrooms taste like? Sin and evil. Not quite beige, but you know when you're walking down the street and it's like been like a real hot and sunny day. Real hot, toasty. You feel it on your scalp. You're a little bit sweaty, a little bit clammy. And you walk down the street and you see a dry and crusty dog turd that has been out in the sun for a few days. That's what that color right there is what mushrooms taste like. Corn is always sounds like you're trying to pronounce corn like a stereotypical New Yorker. I got some corn. Sometimes you gotta have a corn dog. Yeah, I can see that. Blue curacao equals banana? No. Have I completely misremembered what a curacao flavor is? It's definitely not. It's like an orangey color. Is that pronounced as the island? Yeah, I don't know what the island's pronounced like. My one fact about chartreuse is now wrong. Oh no. Good news, Milky Pork. Brandy is a registered color. Brandy's fucking great. I do love brandy. I ain't had brandy in a long time. Got put off Curacao after watching a friend drink too much and bring it up. Yeah, yeah, no, I can imagine that. Air fryer tea is the best. Tinks, get out. Get out! How dare you? How very dare you even suggest such a thing, all right? Sembar is the worst for bringing up bloody air fryer tea, and you're joining him? The scandal. Good lord. Maybe we should watch it off stream at some point. Watch Hitchhiker's Guide. Just the full season. Just sit down for a day and watch the full season. Yeah, the ads are upon us. Thank you very much, Nibrin. Beige adjacent with grim. Yeah. Mushrooms taste like spring mud smells. No, Lynx. No. It tastes even worse. Quan would be sci-fi called nutrient block, which is back of the package says best not question what we replaced this with. Yeah. Well, that was the interesting thing. Like in regards to like the origin of Quan, when they invented Quan, they literally invented it as a way to solve world hunger. They thought it was going to be like a really good supplement for like getting people some good nutrition in their bodies. But it turns out that if you overindulge in Quan, it's lacking a certain nutrient that eventually just starts like having Quan every so often in like part of a balanced diet is really, really good for you. But if you just eat Quan and like have a 80 to 90% Quan diet, then like your muscles start to waste away and shit like that. It's really fucking weird. It's really fucking weird. It is citrus. The green one is banana. Yeah. There we go. I was like, the blue color one, I'm sure was an orange flavor. Because I remember drinking a lot of it in the cocktail bar back in the day. I think you're remembering Grand Marnier, which is orange. Blue Curacao is very blue. Yeah, no, but the blue Curacao tastes of orange. It has that orange flavor, even though it is very blue. Yuki, how you doing, you beautiful bean? How's it going? Laraja citrus flutes equals blue Curacao. Oh, right. Okay, that's interesting. So it's actually a specific citrus flute itself. Citrus flute, Valen. Wow. Citrus fruit. Wonder if you can make tea in a rice cooker. Why would you wonder that? Why would you wonder that? Why would you do that to me and the rest of chat, Milky Pork? Why? Tell me why I don't like Mondays. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. You've not tried air fryer tea? Good. It's because you're a decent human being. So far, anyway. So far. Got rather drunk on it one summer, and the flavor is vivid. Yes. Yeah, for sure. I thought about Pisang Ambon. Oh, I don't know that one, Semba. I don't know this bit. Like rabbits, exactly. Just like rabbits. After watching Hitchhiker's Guide, should try the old PC game. There's a PC game of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Fuck off. Hitchhiker's Guide. No, that is definitely not it. Hitchhiker's Guide to Seoul. I've definitely pronounced that wrong. In the 21st century. That is definitely not it. Oh, it's not on not on Steam then. No, nothing's on Steam at the moment. I have to say I did download the not safe for work pack that GOG was giving away for free over the past couple of days. I actually owned a couple of the games that were already on there, and the other games that were on there I didn't really want to own in the first place, but I wanted to like incentivize the thought behind it. The whole anti-censorship thing.
Panda to my ego. Panda to it. Panda to it.
At this point I live just to remind you of air fryer tea, and its succulent, full-bodied, rich and aromatic taste. Also my sister bet that I couldn't build a car out of spaghetti. You should have seen her face when I drove past her.
I am doubly offended. First of all, because I've already seen that. I've already heard that fucking dad joke. God damn it. God damn it, Tinks. But even more so, the audacity of air-fried tea. Ugh. Ugh. I didn't realize there was an old PC game. Although saying that, the glorious Alec Wallace has hooked us up with some of the old Rocky Horror games, which I'm quite excited to play. Might have to do that. I will not be streaming, by the way, friends. I won't be streaming this Wednesday because I'm performing this Wednesday. So unfortunately, I will not be streaming this Wednesday.
Panda to it.
It's nice.
It's not. It's not. No. No, 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 no. No, no. 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 Yeah, I won't be streaming this Wednesday because I've got a gig on somewhere this Wednesday. However, I will be streaming on Thursday at 7 p.m. BST. That's 7 p.m. British time, where we're going to be doing some community streams. Going to be doing some community stuff. We'll play some community games on Thursday. On Thursday, you know. Guldak Hand 2. Do you believe that cursing things makes things break and bad? No, I don't. I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in curses. So, no. I think that shit happens. And sometimes it happens in a really, really inconvenient fucking moment that can make people believe that they're having like a bout of bad luck or they've been cursed or something like that. But generally speaking, no. I have no belief in curses or the supernatural at all, I'm afraid. There's lots of things in the universe that cannot be explained. There's lots of things that I personally have experienced that I cannot explain. But that doesn't mean that there isn't an explanation for it, you know? That doesn't mean that there isn't an explanation.
Panda to my ego. Panda to it. Panda to it.
This is a shit anagram.
Yes, no, that is accurate. Yeah, that is true. That is true, Zeebs. That is true. Poll ended. The best not flavor, neon blue, other mentioned in chat, or the yellow flavor. I think, to be honest, neon blue is definitely it. Blue, the same flavor as blue slush puppy and blue WKDs. You should try our beautiful flavors. We have raspberry, we have strawberry, we have blue. Yeah. Completely get it. Completely fucking get it. One of those kids' Bakelite ovens. Do they even do anything? You would get tepid water from that. All right. Rice tea is a thing. Don't you even. All right. Don't you even. Okay. If you pour water in a tea bag into a George Foreman grill, you could drain it into a mug. Well, that's vile. That's just straight. That's just vile. Oh my god. Yuki, welcome back from the land of ads. Was a text adventure game? Oh my god, that's amazing. Amazing. Send a picture in DMs. Oh god, what have you sent me? Ooh, that looks familiar to me. Pisang ambon. Or pisang ambon. Green banana flavored. The Indonesian banana liqueur. Fucking hell. Weirdly, the bottle looks really familiar to me, Semba. The bottle looks really, really familiar to me. Even though I'm nearly positive that I've never seen it before in my life. Blorange, yeah, that's the one. My favorite drink in South Africa was called Libido. It's mainly sugar and it's glow in the dark blue and has a horny goat weed as an ingredient. Oh my god, that's amazing. That is amazing. CH has directly blamed Stripe for their issues. That doesn't surprise me. When I talk about the fact that I've had issues in the past with payment processing providers, I am specifically talking about that company. They have their own policy in regards to oh, I can't find it. I'll have it in my emails somewhere. But yeah, there is like an actual clause in the strike policy that forbids anything to do with sex. Anything to do with sex, sex work, anything that can be considered immoral. Because, you know, morality is always so unbelievably clear and nobody has any disagreements about morality, do they? No. No, definitely not. Anyway, Air Fryer Tea. Oh, Yuki, don't even. The chat like to troll me. Like to troll me in the idea of making cups of tea with things other than a kettle. Going with neon blue because I love blue shark formed gummies. Yeah, neon blue for sure. Robblehead, how you doing, you beautiful bean? With Dutch liqueur called Bos Wanderling. The Forest Walk. It tastes like coconut, banana, and a little bit of caramel. Ooh, that sounds interesting. The epitome of the taste of blue. Exactly. Not seeing that here. I have to go have a look. Yeah. Ilansicht. Maybe I'm just asking for it. Yeah. Community games. Oh, don't you even. Are there any tea-based games? Tea. Mice tea. Sovereign tea. Amputee. Battle tea. Pomegranate tea. Tea for God. There are tea games. The Tea Garden Simulator. We may have to have another tea stream at some stage, friends. Where I drink copious amounts of Yorkshire tea and we play tea-based games. Oh my god. There is a not safe for work game called Tea Girls. Oh, good lord. Wow. Of course there is. I'm very oh Tinks, yeah, we'll get into it. Let me catch up with chat very temporarily and then I will get right into it. Is any strange happenings since the mirror came into your house? Still hoping for a plot. The thing looks like a fairy trap if ever I saw one. Yeah, no, not really. I haven't slept well the past couple of nights, but I blame that more on the fact that I've been out working and then going to an awful circus. Blue is so varied in flavor though. Blue Pepsi. I have no idea what blue Pepsi is. I have never tasted blue Pepsi. We've never even seen blue Pepsi before. I love how mushroom suggestion has evolved into how do you fuck up tea? Mushrooms are evil too, right? They are, Yuki. You're a sensible human being. Stripes basically said that they can't support any content made for sexual gratification due to their banking partners, which is ridiculous because they're the only ones that are asking. They're the only ones that ever put forward any of that shit. It's so bullshit. Oh, don't get me on this again. Jamjar, you upset me in my fucking soul. You little shit. You little shit. God damn it. God damn it, Jamjar. Generally speaking, no, but I survived to enjoy my tasty tea done the traditional way, brewed in a cup. No, it is brewed in a cup. Yeah, or in a teapot. That can work. But you don't put it in the teapot first. You didn't put it in the cup first and then heat the water. But heat the water and then brew it. Let it sit. Steep, I believe is the word. Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff. Oh, sleepy. Oh, very sleepy. It's okay. Listen to the sultry tones of Jiggly Val. Thank you. That will make me sleep much better tonight. Much better tonight. Would air fried tea taste better if it was made with Yorkshire tea or PG tips? It wouldn't taste good at all. It just wouldn't. Just wouldn't be all right.
Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff.
Oh, that's me. Right. Okay. See you later, chat. See you later. Bye. Snooze times. Snooze times. I'm in for the tea game. All of the tea things. Lots of tea. It will be a quality stream. Oh my god. Is that like horse girls, but there are varieties of tea? Not really. From what I saw, it looks like they're more like girls that work in a tea shop. But it's a very special type of tea shop, you know? Using blue curacao, orange juice, and peach snaps years ago. The flavor blue is generally great. But the flavor blue is, in that scenario, is orange. It's a citrusy orange. The flavor blue is blue WKD. Which is very, very similar to blue slush puppy, you know? As always, folks, remember, unconscious people don't want tea. This is true. This is very true. By the time you boil the kettle, make the tea, pour in the milk, and serve the tea, they might be unconscious and therefore don't want tea. You know? Blue Lagoon. Oh, fucking hell, I ain't had one of them in a long time. Blue Sambuca is licorice flavored. We call that black Sambuca. Oh, certainly ours is black. I don't think I've ever had blue Sambuca before. Good old Panda Pops, blue raspberry. Yeah, whatever that was. Panda Pops. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. There are some things in life that even as a non-tea drinker you shouldn't do, and that's brewing tea without either a kettle, stove or electric, or boiling water in a pan is even acceptable. Yeah, I would take boiling water in a pan over microwave and or rice cooker or air fryer. For sure. For sure. Okay, friends. Let me tell you about my weekend. Now that I've caught up with chat, let me tell you about my weekend. Also, how you doing, Night Dragon? Long time no see. I hope you're keeping well, you beautiful individual. Appreciate your face. Use the leftover ice water. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? Oh my god. Oh my god. Real ricey, just real starchy tea. Ugh. Full of soup. I bet that makes you real sleepy. When I'm full of soup, it makes me really sleepy. Anyway, where was I? Black and blue Sambuca, the same thing? Yeah, no, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. So, I was working a Clubland. The street party ran for 2 nights. It ran for Friday night and Saturday night. And it was Clubland on Friday night with like DJs and MCs. And then on Saturday night, it was like Hard House. And the way they wanted me to do it was they wanted me to come on, introduce the DJs, but not for the full day, because they started each day at like 12 noon and finished at 3 a.m. Long days, both days. Do you know what I mean? But they wanted me to start about 7 p.m., run till 11 p.m. when the street closed, and then get everyone inside to the after party in the main nightclub, because they could only have the license to have music in the street till 11 p.m. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's not a problem. I got there on the first day. Now, the way that these things tend to work, and this isn't through any, like, well, I mean, from what I know, it's not through any, like, direct fault of the organizer or anything like that. It just tends to be the way that some things work. Like, they sent me a list of, like, the running order of the way it should have been on Friday night. And by the time I'd got there, the running order had completely changed. People were playing on different stages. They were playing different times. It was a bit all over. A bit all over.
Panda to my ego. Panda to it. Panda to it.
500 bits?
500 bits for the emotional support. I imagine Valen getting on stage after a DJ set finished and doing deer in headlights from the running order being messed up.
Yeah. Because, yeah. The guy who booked me wasn't there at the time, because he was doing, like, the night shift. So by the time I got there, I was speaking to the person who was running the rest of the event, like not the entertainment side of the event, the rest of the event. And she was like, I don't know what to tell you. I can send you the new running order. That's right. And I was like, yeah, do that. That's fine. That's all right. I'll have to change things, but that's not an issue. Like I'm very flexible. I'm very, very flexible, you know. But the DJs were definitely running in a different order. I got up on stage to thank the last DJ. As I arrived, that DJ was coming to the end of their set. I got up on stage and I had this entire gimmick because they asked me to play a character. They asked me to play like not just kind of like me, but without the feathers and a little bit more that scene than my usual flamboyance. So I made up this entire fucking character called Shiny Boy because I was wearing a lot of shiny clothes, and I'd made up a whole load of like gimmicks and everything. Doing all these different like gimmicky style things. So I got up on stage and I was like, massive thank you to insert DJ here. Oh my god, they were amazing. Weren't they fantastic? That's brilliant. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do these things. I know what you're all thinking. You're all thinking, who the fuck are you? And everyone was like, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. And I was like, cool. After 3, everyone, well, who the fuck are you? 1, 2, 3. Who the fuck are you? And I was like, I am the compere with the curly hair, the host of the most, the guy that is literally got the honor of introducing these amazing DJs. Bring it on. And I had this gimmick all the way through. I was like, I'm going to get everyone in the crowd to shout, who the fuck are you? Every single time I come on stage, and I will have a different answer every single time. I get up on stage and like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, I'm a disco balls wet dream, because I was wearing a lot of shiny clothes. Do you know what I mean? And people loved it. People loved it. The guy who booked me was like, you are fucking hilarious. I love this. The people in the audience, people came over and were like asking me for photos every 2 minutes, which was fucking excellent. They really did like vibe into it all, which I was surprised at. I didn't think it was going to work, but I was surprised at. But there was like a couple of DJ sets where like one of the ones, like I introduced them, and then after them there was like a pop star called is this them? Yeah, called Kelly Lorena, who was the lead vocalist of the dance group N-Trance in the 1990s. And she was really good. She was really, really good. Very, very nice person. She was always like, she literally went from one gig to another. Then she did like 15 minutes and what have you. Did like a collection of her hit songs. Just really, really nice person. So I introduced Kelly Lorena and she came on and did her thing. They were all very confused. The DJs were like, what the fuck is going on? Because they've never, from what I can tell, they've never had a compere before. They've never had a compere before. So they were just like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he doing these things? What is going on here? And I was like, is there anything you want me to say about you? And they were like, no, I don't know. Just here to do this thing. I was like, yeah, no worries. That like all of the intros had just gone out the window. So it was literally me getting on stage, hyping the crowd up again, introducing the next person. Well, thanking the last person, hyping up the crowd again, introducing the next person. So there was like a constant like source of hype. You know, which was grand, which worked, but it was like weird because there was a couple of times where one DJ was finishing, but the MC, like, oh, this is on the Friday, so one DJ finished, but the MC who was like rapping over the top of the DJ's set was stayed on the stage. So the DJ came off the stage, I got ready to go on the stage. But the MC stayed on the stage. The other DJ started playing. Then the MC stuck around for that DJ playing for a couple of songs. Then came off stage and another MC got on stage. So there was this like weird crossover. And I was like, well, now if I try and get on and introduce the guy who's DJing, that's going to interrupt everything. It's going to be really jarring. And it didn't seem that any of the DJs had been told that they needed to stop their set. They needed to bring their set to a close, let me get on stage and do my thing, and then start their set again, you know? Or at least, and I equally hadn't been told that I could get up on stage once they'd started their set and just sort of riff over the top of it. Do my own version of MCing. Do you know what I mean? Which I could do. I reckon I'm pretty confident in the fact. MC is definitely its own art form, but I reckon I could probably do that. I reckon I've got the enough charisma and talent to be able to do that. But yeah, there was a couple of times where, so there was a couple of DJs which I didn't introduce because they just kind of flowed straight on from the last one. And I was like, okay, this is weird. This is interesting. But then also trying to do that and then grab the guys from the previous set to go take them to do these interviews that they asked me to do. It was just, there was a lot of things going on the Friday, and I definitely wore the wrong shoes. So it all worked. It all went fine. It was all right. It was okay. And people seemed to fucking love it. The guy who was organizing all the DJs and the MCs themselves came over and like at various points of the night, and they were like, hey, I love this. I love what you're doing. It's weird because we're not used to, like, as DJs, we're not used to having somebody do all the introduction stuff like that. But you're really funny. And honestly, I feel like the DJ scene could probably do with a bit more of this. A bit more of, like, somebody coming on and actually, like, throwing the hype out there and getting people riled up again and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm here to do, you know? But it didn't quite work. Didn't quite work, you know? And that was the Friday night. At the end of the Friday night, I went and got myself a cheesy chip wrap and went home. Like, I literally got up on the end of the stage and I was like, right, friends, we're all doing this. We're like, that's the end of the street party, but we're continuing on the after party inside. Everyone get inside. We're going to be doing this stuff, all shits and giggles. And that was fine and dandy. But I spoke to the guy who owned it and I was like, look, I didn't need to be here. They spent a hell of a lot of money on, like, paying for the whole thing. And the weather was miserable. It was, like, cold and it was cloudy and horrible. So numbers were down on what they were expecting. But I said to them, I was like, I don't need to be here. And I'm like, I'm happy to come along. I'm happy to come and do what you're asking me to do, 110%. But I don't want you wasting your money on paying for me to be here when I don't need to be here. Like, all I'm doing is literally coming here and sort of sometimes introducing people, but not always introducing people. And that it either needs to be one or nothing. It needs to be all of the introductions or none of the introductions, because otherwise people will ask questions as to why I'm not there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I said what I agreed to do. I was like, tomorrow I'll get here at 6:30. I'll come with all my video equipment. I'll set everything up, do all my bits and pieces, get everything ready, and then we can decide whether you want me to stick around or whether you don't want me to stick around. If you don't want me to go, then I'll just pack my stuff up and just I'll go, and that's fine. That's why you save yourself some money. But if you do want me to stick around, that's cool. I can also do that because you've already booked me for the night. So, you know, normally I will say that if it was anybody else, if it was somebody that I didn't know, then I'd probably have said, well, you booked me for the night, so it doesn't really matter. You've booked me for the night. Do you know what I mean? How's it going, Rainbowzilla? How you doing, you beautiful being? Love the color of my shirt. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, you cheeky little devil. It is a good shade. Thank you very much. Yeah. Exactly, Nibberin. Lots of raving people. There was a lot of people who pilled out their faces as well. Lots of drugs going on in that thing. But yeah, I turned up on the Saturday at 6:30. The guy who had the final say as to whether I was going to stay or have to leave wasn't there, because again, he was doing like the night shift, so he was going to turn up at like 9-10 o'clock and do right the way through till, actually he was doing right the way through till 6 a.m. because they had to dismantle everything in the street because they had to reopen the street the following morning. So he wasn't there, so I was like, well, do you want me to stay or do you want me to leave? And the woman was like, I honestly don't know. I got up and realized that there was no MCs. It was all hard house DJs on the Saturday night. I was like, cool. Like, literally I was there for the end of one person's set and the next person kicked straight on, and I was like, yeah, there's no point in me being here. If it's all just going to be DJs, there is no point in me being here at all. So I was like, well, I could go home, or I could just do the interviews. I could literally just like grab the DJs after they finish their set, take them straight up to where I've set up all my stuff, and do the interviews straight off. And they were like, yeah, do that. That's great. That's a use of your time. However, the interviews took 5 minutes each, thereabouts. The DJ sets were like an hour to an hour and a half long. So there was a lot of time where I was kind of stood around. And dear God, friends, there was so much shit that happened. So much shit that happened that night. All right? Oh my God. I can't even, do you know, I was messaging my friend who has worked that event several times, being like, is this normal? And he was like, no, not even slightly. This never fucking happens. And I was like, Jesus, what? Let me pull it up so that I don't forget anything. but there was like a lot of fights and shit. So Didymus, how you doing? How you doing, you beautiful bean? It was fucking wild. Like, they did say, like, because I spoke to quite a few people while I was there, and I was like, because effectively what happened, first of all, somebody came up to me in the the street party and was like, excuse me, were you in a fight? And I was like, no. And they were like, were you not here like defending your missus? And I was like, no, I'm here alone, I'm working, you know. And they were like, oh right, it must have been another guy in a ponytail. And I was like, I had the neon like silver, like a really holographic silver jacket on, and I was like, of all of the things that was my defining feature, my ponytail is not one of them. I look like a giant testicle made out of tinfoil. Like, what the actual fuck? But they came up to me and they were like, you, I was like, no, why, what happened? Like, just interested. And I was like, why, what happened? And they were like, oh, some guy with a ponytail was defending his woman's honor and had a fight. And I was like, okay. All right, okay, that's interesting. Well, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. You know, tinfoil testicle, exactly, right? Knight in shining armor, I'm a testicle in tinfoil. So that occurred, all right? About 20 minutes after that occurred, I was over at the sound booth checking in with one of the lighting guys about where the microphones and stuff were. And two massive blokes, like mountainous, muscly men, fucking collided in the middle of the dance floor on the street. Like, where everyone was dancing, they just fucking collided. And then as they collided, loads of other people jumped straight in. And like, were all fucking ragging at each other and pulling each other apart. The bouncers like were there within seconds and they were pushing everyone apart. But these guys were big guys. They were real big, like proper. They looked quite, if I use the term, I'm not saying that they definitely were this way, but if I use the term like steroidy, you know what I mean in regards of like the muscles were, they had muscles on their muscles. So they were like pushing off the bouncers, and the bouncers are big guys themselves. So they were like getting involved and trying to keep them apart. And then that kind of split off, and the bouncers went off with one guy, and this other guy was like moving further down this way. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's kicking off again, because there was a few people that were like holding him up by the throat. And I was like, fucking hell, things are kicking off. And then I realized that the people that were holding up by his throat was actually his friends who were telling him all to calm down. Built like a brick house. Yeah, exactly that, Tinks. Exactly. Wait, a testicle's not supposed to be made out of tinfoil? Depends whether you want alien interference with them, Sir Didymus, to be honest with you. All right? Depends, you know? So there was like one group of friends down here that were holding their mate back by his throat, being like, calm down, you need to calm down. And the guy was like, no, he fucking did it, did he? He's fucking done it, no, he's fucking and I was like, what is going on? What is happening? What's occurring here? And like, I turned around to the sound guy, the lighting guy that like I know really, really well. And I was just like, this is kicking off. Is this something that normally happens? Because I know that obviously with like clubland scenes and stuff like that, people tend to take a lot of drugs and stuff. And I'm not saying they did there by any stretch of imagination, but I'm saying like that culture can be quite drug fueled. So I was like, is this something that is like regular because of like the drugs and stuff like that? Was that potentially something like that? I know that the venue take a very strong line, hard line on drugs. It's like anybody who's seen taking drugs or anything like that, they're out straight away. Like they're very, very strict with it. But this lighting guy literally told me, he was like, no, honestly, we've been doing this every year for the past fucking 6-7 years, and this is the first fight we've ever had. He was like, I've worked it every single year and we've never had a fight before. We've never had an issue. And I was like, fucking hell, man, what's going on there? Turn back round. Like, as I turned back round, there was 4 girls that were ripping each other's extensions out. They were all like in the little pile together, just grabbing at each other's hair. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like that one had sort of like petered off a little bit. And then further down here, these girls had just started ripping into each other. And I was like, what is happening? What is going on here? And I was just stood at the side being like, because you know what I'm like. I've got a really bad justice complex. I got a really bad justice complex. So I was like, do I get involved? And I was like, no, because if I get involved, then I'm liable. And the bouncers are here. The bouncers are getting paid to do this shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're here. And they all piled in and they all sorted it all out and what have you. And then I'm just catching up with all the things that I said to my mate. Yeah, four women trying to rag each other's extensions out. And this was me texting a friend of mine who was literally, this was the first one that he hadn't worked. And he was like, this shit never happens. He was like, tell me everything, because this never happens. Ever. And he was like, obviously the effect you have, Valen, on this, you know what I mean? Succubus emo cat girl, how you doing? How's it going? Sounds like he needs a nap spray to calm him down. Honestly, he was very wired, is what he was. And I'm not saying that he took drugs or steroids or what have you, but he was a very, very muscly built bodybuilder man. He's quite a short gentleman, but he was a muscly, and there was nothing that was stopping him. He was grabbing people and lobbing them out the way to try and get to this other steroidy man, just absolutely pulling each other apart. It was wild. I've not seen anything like it in many, many years. It was next level, you know. Hull full of gammon, yeah. And do you know what I will say, Jam Chat? I will say, apart from like the drama that I'm going to be talking about, like in this, the atmosphere was great. It's not my cup of tea at all, not my scene. I don't like that kind of music or anything like that, but actually the atmosphere was great. There was people of all ages, from 18 through to fucking 80. There was like literally people of all ages, of all different styles. There was a whole load of like queer people in there that were in with people that I wouldn't have expected to have been, like you say, the gammon people, the people that look like they're very much pro fucking Brexit, all that jazz. And everyone was just having a real good time. Everyone was just vibing out, dancing, getting a little bit drunk, just having a good time. And that was the atmosphere. That was not the atmosphere I was expecting, but that was the overall atmosphere. The overall atmosphere was just really fucking good. Everyone was just happy. Everyone was just out having a good time, and no real issue. It was just these pockets of drama fucking kicked off. They escalated so fucking quickly. It was bloody wild. Oh yeah. So later on, like after that all like calmed down, the bouncers managed to kick everybody out. All the people that were fighting, they just got them all out the street and kicked them all out and got them on their way. Sleazy, how you doing? How's it going? It's shits when the actually catfight motherfuckers start tearing each other's fur out. Yeah, it really was. I mean, if he was crying while angry, it was definitely roid rage. I honestly don't know if he was crying. I didn't see him well enough, but he was on a fucking warpath. He was on a warpath. And he literally had to be held back by a couple of bouncers. There was the head bouncer that was there, really nice guy, just generally really nice guy, but he's built like a brick shit house, so he's a big bloke. And he was like stood in the middle and just holding them, like fucking his muscles were straining as he held these two muscle heads back. And I was like, fucking hell, mate, like Jesus Christ. I did not envy him at all. Do you know what I mean? Val, were you wearing Axe? Were you creating these scenes with your charismatic aura? That was it. I was wearing Lynx Africa. Yeah. Or Axe Africa. Yeah. Or one of those new pheromone deodorants or whatever they call them. Yeah. That was it. Couldn't help myself, you know. Shot ones there the worst. This guy certainly was. This guy certainly fucking was. He was out for it. And I was pretty taken back by it, to be honest with you. More in a curiosity way than anything else. Like I've seen enough violence in my life that it doesn't faze me when people kick off. But I was just like, oh, well, that's interesting. Just keep an eye on that. I was more like keeping it because I knew I was working. I was like, if I stand here, I'm out of the way. I'm not in the way of anybody. I'll just keep an eye on it in case like I need to give a police statement or something like that. You know, if it gets to a point where they do recall the police or what have you, and I need to give a police statement, then I can give my account, you know. So I was like just keeping an eye and just watching and stuff, and I was like, fucking hell, what's going on here? But then those lads got kicked out, their mates got kicked out, or some of the mates left with them. And then the 4 girls that were catfighting got kicked out. They all had to get escorted out of the street, kicked out. You're not allowed back in. Fuck is all. done and done. And then just as that was finishing, about 10 minutes passed, and somebody came over and asked me whether I'd seen one of the DJs, and I was like, no, I haven't seen them at all today. I don't know whether they're even here yet. Then the DJ arrived, that specific DJ arrived, and got taken straight through to a different, because they were meant to be playing outside in the street, but they got taken straight through to the inside DJ booth. So I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I went over to the woman that I was speaking to, and I was like, hey, what's happening? And they were like, oh, well, they're going to do a set here. And I was like, so has that thrown the pattern out of order? Because if they're playing in here, then you don't have a DJ out there. Do I have to get up on stage and entertain people? Do I have to, do you know what I mean? Just like making sure that I was there available to fill any space that may be appearing, you know? I was ready. I was ready to be useful. After all, they were paying for me to be there, so I was like, I'm ready to be useful. And I was like, so why is she in here doing a set in here? And my contact, this wonderful lady, was like, oh, well, you know the fight with the 4 ladies that happened that you were telling me about? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, one of those ladies was one of the DJ's girlfriends. And as she got kicked out, the DJ was like, well, can she come in just to watch my set? And the bouncers were like, no. And the organizers were like, no. She broke the rules. She had a full-on fight in the middle of a dance floor. She can't come in. Rules are rules. It doesn't matter who you are. The rules are rules. You know what I mean? And like, can you not come in just to watch my set and then we'll both leave? And we're like, no. And he's like, well, I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to perform for you if my girlfriend can't come in. And they were like, well, goodbye then. You can't have your partner get in a big fuck off fight that causes loads of fucking problems to a point where they get kicked out of the fucking street party and then expect them to be allowed back in again just to watch your set. That's it. You make an exception for one person, you make an exception for all of them. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that. So that DJ basically fucked off. They weren't allowed to. They were like, well, fuck it. If my girlfriend can't come in, then fuck you all. And it was like, well, fair enough. You're not getting paid. You didn't do your set. Your girlfriend caused a fight. You know, I'm out. So that DJ, her name was Rafi. Really, really nice person. And she did a set in the courtyard, which was inside the venue, and then did like half an hour in there. Then got escorted outside to do her full set outside in the street. And the woman who was like one of the owners of the venue grabbed a DJ that she knew from one of her nights in the actual venue itself and was like, hey, do you have your USB full of music on you? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, cool. Are you sober enough to actually do a DJ set? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, cool, come with me. Put him on stage so that he could do an hour-long set and fill in for the missing DJ. It was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I have to give credit where credit is due. The resourcefulness of how they just fucking bounced around everywhere. Right, okay, no, you come with me. You're going to do these things. Okay, that's great. I was ready and waiting to jump on stage with an actual microphone and just keep people entertained while they found somebody to fill in. But, yeah, it was intense. It was bloody intense. And that was about half of the evening. That wasn't even, all of that shit wasn't even like the main event that happened. It wasn't even the main event that happened. So, the main event, let me catch up with chat first and then I'll tell you about the main event. All right, and I haven't even gone to Sunday night. I haven't even gone to the shit circus yet. Okay? No wonder you're tired. Honestly, it was pretty fucking wild. I just was like, ooh, fucking hell. But you know when you sit at the side and you just like popcorn? Oh, fucking hell. See what's going on here? What's happening? You know, oh, fucking hell. She's actually kind of like, yeah. My dad and brother would have these fits where they'd be screaming, crying at each other's faces, arguing that they'd run out of breath and call it quits. Wow. Just like, are you saying, Sleazy, that they were on roids themselves? Were they users of steroids? Guess you could say I have a shorter temper. Yeah, I was about to say on oh my god, Amo. Cat girl, good lord. Good lord. Sounds like a Tuesday night in a Florida nightclub. Yeah, I've definitely been in nightclubs that play that kind of music, and I've always seen more aggro in those nightclubs, but I used to go in dressed in a very, very alternative fashion. So I can they picked me out because they were like, hey, you don't fucking belong here, you know? You know? Hydrate yourself. I am hydrating. Don't you worry. Don't you fret it. Was it by in Newcastle? No, this was in Hull. This was in my hometown. Peter Parker holding back the train station. Honestly, yeah, very much like that. Very much like that, Milky Pork. Yeah, this one bouncer. And I was just like, fucking hell, I feel for you, mate. And I spoke to him afterwards, and I was like, what was happening? He was like, I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like this at all. I was like, Jesus Christ, okay. Any Glasgow kisses? Not that I... Oh, okay, we'll get to that. I tell a lie. See you later, somebody, and you take it easy, beautiful bean. It was, yeah, there was one guy. There was one guy that was a bit... He had the crazy eyes. He had the crazy eyes. It's like a car crash where you just can't help but look and invest in the fight with a bucket of popcorn. Honestly, yeah, it felt that way. I was just like, wow, fucking hell, what's going on here? Don't even until the family jewels are hit or hair is pulled or see someone going lights out. You don't give them that initial chance to sort it out. Their aggression often gets directed at you. But yeah, no, I understand that. But also, I mean, the bouncers were there. The bouncers are paid to deal with that shit. Do you know what I mean? They're also trained to deal with that shit. I'm not. I'm also a waif of a human being, you know? A waif of a human being. Sounds like the same levels of organized chaos. Most events are around my way. Good lord. Good lord. Sounds like a wild time I've had nights like that before where I used to go out with people and thought we're friends and got fed up with the drama. Still friends with a couple of them though, yeah. Well, I was about to say, I didn't know any of these people. A Glasgow kiss, Chandra, is where, or Chandria, excuse me, is where you do a headbutt. So when you just nut somebody with the bridge of your nose, or bridge of your brow. That's a Glasgow kiss. Would love to have the chance to stop fights, but noodle arm strength. I've definitely got... I have a bad habit of getting involved. If there's nobody there that is literally meant to be dealing with it, like bouncers, like police officers, like security guards, etc., then I have a bad habit of getting involved. I have a really bad habit of getting involved. Because I have a really bad justice complex and I cannot stand people being picked on. I can't do it. So I will always... Unless there's people that are like literally there. Because the thing is, 9 times out of 10, if you get involved, then you're becoming part of that and therefore liable to anything that ends up happening, you know? Which, if there's other people, if there's like official paid security guards, police officers, bouncers, etc., they are paid and trained and licensed to deal with that shit and have like insurance, like personal liability insurance and stuff like that to cover that stuff. If they're not around, then I'm like, well, it's a fucking free-for-all, let's go, you know? I don't like to fight, by the way. I'm not a violent person at all. I'm very much a pacifist, but I also have a really bad justice complex, you know? Just rip your shirt open and give them the old Care Bear stare. You know it. You know it. But yeah, that wasn't even like the big bit of the night. So there was a guy there, a Polish gentleman, who at the very beginning of the night, I was speaking to one of the sound technicians about a microphone. So they literally, this was as I'd arrived at like 6:30, you know? And I was speaking to the sound technician about a microphone. I was like, right, okay, it's there. Cool. We don't have this guy, the guy that was there on Friday night. He was like, okay, cool. But now I know how to do it, etc. And as we were walking back from where the sound tech stuff was towards where all the lighting stuff was, this guy, this very, like, he was about 6'2", 6'3", built guy, very, very broad, very thing. He seemed like a very nice person at the time. And he was just like, You need to turn up the music. You need to turn up the music. Like, he was like, the music's great, but we need to turn it up. I want to feel it. I want to feel it. And the sound technician was like, no, well, this is the limit. We can't go any louder than this because of like laws and stuff like that. And he was like, no, you need to turn it up. You need to turn it up. We need like we need the vibe here. Like we need more people dancing. We need the vibe. He was evidently on something, but he was just very much and then slipped the sound technician like 20 quid to like bribe him to turn the music up. And the sound technician was like, all right, yeah. And then just moved a fader that didn't fucking do anything. He was just like, oh, there you go. And he was like, oh, yeah. And just got real into it. It was like, all right, cool. And I didn't see him for the rest of the night. He was just dancing. He was having a good time, all shits and giggles. And then at the towards the very, very end of the night, I would say that there was like the last half an hour of the street party, bit of it before everyone came inside. I walked back inside to try and find one of the DJs that I wanted to interview. So I was walking round and back inside, like there was like a little corridor of like just path before you go into the main venue. And I was walking down this little path area, and this guy that I'd seen earlier, this Polish gentleman, was being held against the wall by 5 bouncers. Just held against the wall by 5 bouncers. And the crazy eyes were upon him, huh? Like real crazy eyes. And he was pushing people out. He was ragging people off. He was getting up. He was like literally wiggling out of like arm locks and shit like that, and then just grabbing at people and fucking trying to throw them and shit like that. And it took 6 bouncers, because they had to get another bouncer to come along. It took 6 bouncers to drag this guy out of the street. And he was going for it. Anybody and anything. He tried to bite one of the bouncers. One of the bouncers was like holding his arm, and he like wiggled out with his arm out, and the bouncer like grabbed onto him. But like in the process of grabbing onto his arm, like came close to his face, and the guy literally looked at him and like tried to bite him. He was like fucking out of it. It was wild. I have not seen any. He literally was like rabid. I've not seen anything like it. But they managed to drag him out, and me and the owners were all there, and we were like, what the fuck is going on? And one of the guy who owns the place was like, fucking hell, like that guy earlier was being rude to one of the ladies that works at the club. And he was like, I was about to have an altercation with this guy because of how rude he was and how disrespectful he was. And I'm glad I didn't, because he'd have ripped me to pieces. Absolutely, I'm glad I called the bouncers. Because this guy was literally like, there was nothing stopping him. Like whatever pain threshold he had gone. No, he didn't feel anything, because he was definitely like tearing at muscles and shit like that. But it just in straining to get away from these guys. But it took 6 bouncers to get him out of the street, past like where their like area of thingy ended, kicked him out. And apparently, when I spoke to one of the door staff that was at the end of the street, like letting people in and stuff, and they were saying that he finally got out, and he was just like on the edge of the street, just fucking wired, and he kept walking away and then turning round and running full pelt like a fucking rugby player, like an American football player, just running full pelt into the fucking bouncers like they were Skittles. Like he was doing bowling, and he was the bowling ball and they were Skittles. And then he'd sort of like get up again and walk away, and then turn around and do it again. They rang the police, obviously. They rang the police to because this guy was that fucking out of it. And he ended up walking away and walking round the corner, and he got picked up by the police when he was round the corner. The police took him into custody, talked to him in the car, then let him go for whatever reason, then let him go, and he came straight back to the fucking venue. He came straight back and ran straight at the bouncers again. And he was like, what is this? What is going on here? Oh my god, it was wild. Absolutely fucking wild. I was like, what is even happening? I can't believe that the police fucking let him go. Because I was speaking to him, and I was like, fucking hell. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, but he's been picked up by the police now. And they were like, yeah, that's not a problem. And then later on, I was speaking to like the head bouncer guy, like I said, really nice dude. And he was like, yeah, the police let him go. And I was like, what do you mean the police let him go? He was fucking out of it. He was like all of the crazy eyes. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, and they let him go? And I was like, yeah. I was like, so what happened then? And he was like, he came back, didn't he? I was like, you fucking what? What the fuck? And he had it out. He had it out. There was one of the bouncers. Some people need a back bed. Some people need a back bed. One of the bouncers was quite a short black guy. Again, really nice bloke, and definitely I'd seen him like pile in and get involved and stuff like that. So he evidently knew what he was doing. But this Polish gentleman had zeroed in on this little black security man, and it was just like gunning for him, apparently. Absolutely gunning for him. No matter what happened, I don't know whether maybe he was like the first bouncer on scene or something like that. Maybe he was like the first guy who was like in the thingy, and therefore because he was like the first person, that was the target, as it were. But he was gunning for this little guy, bless him. And like I said, the bouncer knew what he was doing. He knew what he was up to. He obviously had been trained and knew what was going on. But I just felt for him, because this guy was like, he reminded me, the way that he fucking charged at the bouncers as well, he reminded me of the Juggernaut from X-Men. You know when the Juggernaut just starts running and just doesn't fucking stop and runs through fucking like buildings and what have you? He was like that. I was like, what is this? What is this fucking sorcery? What is going on? It was wild. Absolutely fucking wild. Yeah, and then everything calmed down, and I sent a message, like my friend was messaging me being like, any more stories, any more things going on, is there any more that happens? And I was like, no, everything's calmed down now. Like the street party had finished, everyone was coming inside, everyone was having a really, really good time. And just as I'd sent that message to my friend being like, that everything's calm, like the street's closed now, everything seems calm, like it seems everything like calmed down, all the problematic people have fucked off now. And literally as I pressed send, a guy came over to me and he was like, have you seen my missus? And I was like, no. And he was like, are you sure you haven't seen my missus? And I was like, mate, I don't know what your missus looks like. Who's your missus? I've never seen you before in my life. Who's your missus? And he was like, oh, you must have seen her. You must have seen her. And I was like, I've got no idea who your missus are. And he was like, you're probably one of those blokes that shagged her, aren't you? And I was like, who the fuck are you talking about? And basically, the guy was searching for his partner, searching the entire club for his partner, and accusing every single man that was there of sleeping with his wife, or sleeping with his partner, with his girlfriend, what have you. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? What is happening? What is happening? What is occurring right now? Shortly after that, I left. I was like, right, I'm good. I've packed up all my stuff. I've spoken to all the DJs I need to speak to. I'm gonna grab my things and I'm gonna go get a cheesy chip wrap, because I am fucking done. I am done. I am out. It is fucking thing. Apparently the rest of the night was really, really quiet. After I'd left, everything was quiet again. But yeah, it was fucking wild. I've not seen a night like it. I've genuinely not seen a night like it. I was like, what is occurring here? What is this? Like, yeah, because people are texting me being like, because obviously like it's quite unusual to do like comparing for a DJ gig like that. So people were texting me, and I'll give credit where credit is due. 99% of the people were genuinely really nice people. Got on very, very well with them. I can see how altercations can rise up, because like I was stood in the middle, like people just get so out of it, like drink or drugs or whatever. I was stood in the middle of in the middle of the street, but far back so I could take some photos for the organizers. And people walked into me, and I was like, the nearest person away from me is like 8 meters. You got plenty of room to walk around me, but people were so spatially unaware that they just kept knocking into me. And I was like, okay, like this is ridiculous. But I was like, if I was like quite an aggressive person and pent up or drugged up or drunk or what have you, and somebody kept knocking into me the way that these people were, I was like, yeah, I'd probably get a bit angry. I'd probably get quite frustrated. So I was like, I could see how altercations could happen, but the fact that they literally, everybody that worked there was like, we've worked this for years and nothing like this has ever happened. Like, we don't ever really get any violence at all, because people are just vibing with the music, having a good time. It doesn't fucking happen. And yet that night, just everything. And I will give credit where credit is due. The organizers were fantastic the way they dealt with it. The bouncers were fantastic the way they dealt with it. The bar staff were fantastic. Even the DJs were all fantastic the way they dealt with all of this stuff. And it was just like, all right, this is a thing that is occurring. Fair enough. Fair enough. Jesus Christ. Yeah, just wild. Wild. Leave it to me to think my gutter mind. Not wrong with a gutter mind by any stretch of the imagination. Amount of fights I've broken up in my time because they're just being ridiculous. Yeah, people do. They let things escalate far too quickly, you know. What was in the water? Good question. Good question. I would say that at least the guy with the crazy eyes, based on me and my experience of drugs, and when I say that, I have never taken drugs. They're not my cup of tea. I don't judge people, even though it's not my cup of tea. I don't judge people for taking them. If they want to take them, that's their choice. It's their body, you know. But based on my own experience of other people taking drugs, I would say that the big guy was at the very least on a bit of speed. At the very least. The wild eyes and the way that he just went for shit. I was like, yeah, there's in amongst the cocktail of drugs you've likely taken, there's definitely speed in there somewhere. Definitely fucking speed in there somewhere. You know? Probably let him go because at that point no arrestable offense had been committed. Just frustrating for the police because they know he'll cause more chaos, but they're constrained by the laws, better or worse. That's wild to me. It's wild that they didn't, like, I would have said, Shade, like, I get what you're saying, but I would have said that he was displaying enough characteristics that a drug test would have been required. Do you know what I mean? I would have been like, okay, we're just going to take you in for a drug test. Because there was enough going on there. Unless he just, for some reason, just snapped out of it in that time and was actually really complacent. But he was fucking wild. Absolutely fucking wild. It was next level. Adverts. Don't worry. After the adverts, I'll talk about the shit circus, because that was something else as well. That was something else on the polar opposite end of the scale. On the polar opposite end of the scale. It's because of the mirror. That must be it. That must be it. All those trapped fae making me draw in aggressive people. Not to actually be aggressive with me, but just be for aggression to happen around me. The shit magnet, I'll take that. I'll take it. Seems the drama for both nights happened in one place. Yeah, it was wild. It was fucking wild. It was really, really weird. Oh, it was so strange. But yeah, I did find it highly entertaining though, that I was, like I said, all night. I was speaking to one guy, like there was one guy that was like the contact for all of the DJs that were there. And I was chatting to him for like the 2 days straight. And then he headlined the final night. He was like the main headliner. But like when I was speaking to these things, I was like doing these interviews and they were great people. Like every single one of the DJs was just a laugh. They were just a really like fun person. They were like, yeah, I've had a great time. This has been different. hadn't done Hull before, doing these things. And I'd ask him and I was like, well, so what's next for you? What's next on your agenda? And they'd be like, like we arrived from Florida this morning at like 6 a.m. and then it was like 11 p.m. and we've got to get back to the hotel and sleep because at 5 a.m. tomorrow flying out to Ibiza. And there was somebody else that was going to Cancun. And I was just like, all these DJs, they're evidently big DJs. They're like literally international jet-setting DJs, flying all over the world doing these DJ sets in a variety of different clubs and stuff like that. And I've got no idea who they are. I got no fucking clue who they are at all. I recognize some of the songs. So there was 2 pop stars from the 90s. There was Kelly Loren and Fragma. And they were like pop stars from the 90s. And I only know that they were pop stars from the 90s because I recognized their songs. Like I was like, I listened to these songs when I was a kid in the 90s. I didn't recognize them at all, but I recognized their songs. And I was like, oh shit, you sing this? Oh, fucking hell. Well, shit. That was a bit weird. Like meeting the people that had originally sang the songs that I listened to when I was fucking 13, 14 or what have you. That was pretty wild. But actually no, it was before that. It would have been like fucking 10, 11. Jesus Christ. Yeah. that was pretty strange. But yeah, just really, always find it really, really interesting when you don't work in a specific world, you don't work in a specific industry, and then you're exposed to that industry, meet all of these people, and like people were acting. Like people were coming over to me and like, hey Val, come over here. We'll pull your phone out and we'll get you a photo with Ian Vandal, was one of the DJs. And I was like, yeah, I'll have a photo with Ian Vandal. That's great. That's fantastic. And we sat having a photo. He's a good laugh, all fun and games. And I'm like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know who this guy is. No idea who he is. Because it's a world that I don't work in, you know? Yeah, but they have no legal grounds to detain anyone for a drug test unless other offenses have been committed. Likeliest would have been public order offense. Oh, right, okay. That's really shit. Because he definitely came back and caused problems. And he was, yeah. I'm surprised. Although saying that, I suppose if the bouncers handled it correctly, then nobody would have got injured. So there would be no grounds to cause for any kind of, like, bodily harm charge or anything like that. Yeah, fucking hell. Never thought about that, but yeah. But yeah. And then, now that the adverts are over, on Sunday, I was like, I'm going to go see the Circus with a friend of mine. So me and my friend went to see, I literally Googled I was like, I want to go out on Sunday night with my friend. What can we go do? What can we go see? What can we go have a look at? And there was a circus show happening in the same theater that I went to see Rocky Horror in. Same theater I went to see Rocky Horror in. Was like, right, we're gonna go see this circus show. So it was like, okay, cool. Now, I will admit, I was a little bit naive in the regards that I didn't fully read the poster. And that is my own fault. Okay? Because the poster said Cirque. And then it said the greatest show reimagined. Now, when I think of the word circus or Cirque, I just think that they are all gonna big up their own show. So someone turns around and goes, oh, we're gonna go see the Circus. It's gonna be the greatest show. This is the greatest show. It's the Circus. Oh, come down and see the Circus, the greatest show in the UK. Let's come down. Roll up for the greatest show. That's where my mind goes, because I remember working illusions companies back in the day, and that's what we would do. All right? I wasn't expecting the greatest showman. And I leaned into my friend. I sat here and I was just like, just so you're aware, as soon as they started singing the first song from The Greatest Showman, which I haven't seen The Greatest Showman, so I've got no fucking idea, but I know the songs, and I leant in, and literally I was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, I had no idea that this was what they were doing. Okay? And the story, it started off with like a projection of a story about a mime and their pet dog, and how the mime had never spoken a word in their entire life because they'd come from a long lineage of mimes, and they escaped from an orphanage and ran away with their pet dog, and they lived together, and then they got like a color TV, and then got entranced by the idea of joining a circus. Usual gubbins, you know what I mean? Loose storyline, all fun and games. Now, I will say, first and foremost, that I was a little bit apprehensive when I walked in and found our seats nice and close to the front, because I like seats that are nice and close to the front. Walked in, and the place was about a third to a half filled. So there's quite a lot of people around. and they were all families. So there was lots of kids, lots of little kids there and stuff like that, which immediately I'm like, okay, so if it's like a family show, I need to temper my expectations. Not that they can't be good. Family shows can be absolutely fantastic. I just need to temper my expectations a little bit. Just a little bit. Just be like, okay, see how it is. See what's going on here. You know, is it going to really tongue-in-cheek it a little bit? Is it going to go for like the full CBBC dynamic? Or is it going to be like a little bit adult? Not entirely sure, you know, but go in with an open mind, you know. You love The Greatest Showman? I have not seen The Greatest Showman. For multiple reasons. One, because I have heard all of the fucking songs to death. Because when The Greatest Showman came out, every single pantomime tour in the world all adopted the songs from The Greatest Showman because they were the most popular songs to sing, you know. Secondly, I know that it's a lie. I know that The Greatest Showman is a lie. People who I know who have worked, people who I know who have worked Circus for years, perhaps even generations, all say that The Greatest Showman is based off a guy who was actually a horrible, horrible person and was very exploitative of freaks, the freak show. And it's like this whole thing of like this very empowering show and stuff like that. And it's like, that's great. Fantastic. Tell an empowering story about how people are different and it's okay to be different. That's absolutely fantastic. But when you know the actual story, it's a lie. It's a story of a man and how he exploited unique people to line his pockets. Unfortunately, you know. I sense that you wouldn't have enjoyed the show. yeah, Rach. Yeah. 100%, because it wasn't like when they say The Greatest Show, I will say, like, spoiler, when they say The Greatest Show reimagined, what they mean is it had songs from The Greatest Showman in it. That's what they mean, or certainly that was my interpretation of it. Spoiler, it was not The Greatest Show. It was not The Greatest Show. It was not The Greatest Show. Barnum was a douche canoe. Yeah, he was a fucking horrible person. And where the real P.T. Barnum was a knob, I love them. That's fair. That is perfectly fine. I have not seen it, but you know what I mean. It was just a tribute. I don't even think it was that, to be honest with you. It wasn't the greatest show in the world. It wasn't the greatest song in the world. And it definitely wasn't even a tribute. Like, let me be very clear, all right? Like, my immediate thought, they brought on this mime and the dog, okay? And the dog was a robot dog, okay? And let me be very clear. When I say robot dog, I don't mean like a dog puppet. I mean, can I... Yeah, just take that picture, please. Open image in new tab. I mean, like one of these. No, Razor, this was professional theater. This was a professional theater. Like, this was the first day of their tour, and their tour goes right the way through to the end of November, and then starts again in May next year. This is a professional tour. And they had one of these in there. No, one like a K9. No. Was it Weird Al off Wish did a parody of Greatest Showman? No, I wouldn't even say it was that good. Is indeed a robot dog. Yeah. That robot dog was on stage, and I hilariously, I called it from the beginning. I was like, that robot dog is there because somebody has bought the robot dog and needs it to be tax deductible. Because let me be clear, having looked into this now, having looked into it, the robot dogs of this variety cost between $2.5 to $3.5 grand. They are not cheap things. They are $2.5 to $3.5 grand. And I was like, because it was only on stage twice. It was only on stage twice. It did like a little jump through a hoop. Did like a little jump through a hoop. And it did a couple of like little tricks and stuff, which I was genuinely impressed by the robotics, I will say. I was like, okay. But it added nothing to the story. It added nothing to any element. It was literally on stage twice, and I was like, it's on stage twice so that they can write it off as tax deductible. That is the only way that it makes sense in my head as to why it's even there in the first place. Because somebody's bought it and went, I don't want to have to pay tax on it, so I'll put it in a show. I'll put it in a show. You know? That's the only thing that made sense in my brain, you know? How did the mime get a robot dog? Well, so the dog was meant to be a real dog. All of the imagery was a real dog. And then this was obviously just the representation of that real dog. You know? It does not look like it can jump. It can jump, to be fair. It managed to jump, I don't know, like 10 centimeters high. So they'd put like a hoop, and then as the dog jumped, they moved the hoop like through it, as it were. It's very much an impressive machine. Very much an impressive machine, 100%. Didn't need to fucking be there. Didn't need to be there at all. In fact, literally, that one that I've just shown you, the Unitree Go-To Pro Robotic Dog in the UK is £3,480. Not including shipping. Because it says tax included, shipping calculated at checkout. So that's not even including shipping. I'm pretty sure it's the one that you knock over. It would do this real dog kick. Kind of germs offending and react. Well, it did. Do you know what? It did roll onto its back and then get back up again so that the mime could tickle its belly. Technically, the robot dog sort of mimes being a dog. That is true. No, that is true. That's true. Why didn't they just use a puppet dog? It would have been cuter. Good question, Yuki. Good question. No idea. Probably because they couldn't think of a way to get it on and off stage. So it would have been much easier. That's the knockoff from Asia. The Boston Robotics original is a lot more. Oh, I can imagine, yeah, the originals were definitely a lot more. And it would have had a waggy tail. That's right. A puppet one would have had a waggy tail. I've looked up Max Fox. As suspected, he did not guess past. Oh, yeah, we'll get to that bit, Rage. Oh, my God. Oh, you don't even... Oh, it made me so angry. I felt it. I felt it boil up in me. I felt it. So, the way that it worked.
Hand it to my ego. Hand it to it. Hand it to it.
Val and I asked my wife when her birthday was. She said March 1st. So I walked around the room and asked again.
Oh my God, Europapa. Oh my God. Thank you very much for the 100 panda rings, you cheeky little devil. Fucking hell. Also found the website. He's the main selling point, just FYI. Yeah, I thought he was. And I can guarantee you he probably is getting paid 2 to 3 times the amount that everyone else in that show is getting paid. I can guarantee it. So, yeah, the story was about this mime. And at the very, very beginning of the show, the mime replaces his old television set for a brand new color television set. And basically the show is a lot of the first half is the mime watching TV, and what he watches on TV is reenacted. So they have like aerial thing. There was an aerial artist who basically carried the entire fucking show. She did like 8 acts herself, like aerial hoop, aerial silks, a whole load of acro balance, a whole load of hand balancing. She did loads of shit by herself. There was 3 singers, including Max Fox that Rach just mentioned. And do you know what? One of the singers, was very, very good. Not Max Fox. The other guy, the other male singer, was absolutely fantastic. He had he had set of pipes on him like I've not heard in a long time, and his range was wild. Genuinely really impressed by him. There was definitely the one they made, the one they made the stand on a box. There was because he was a shorter gentleman, and there was a point where the choreographing happened, and they brought a box into the back, and it looked like they were bringing the box into the back for one of the acrobats, but then the singers were like in 3 sections. So it was like the female singer, the Max Fox, this gentleman, and then the other male singer at the back. But they made him stand on the box so that they had like this tiered effect. But because he was a shorter gentleman, it didn't have the same sort of dynamic. It made him kind of like the same height as Max Fox, because Max Fox seemed to be quite a tall individual. So that was fucking wild, to say the least. The costume design was all over the fucking show, but I'll get to that in a minute, because it was some choices were made. Some choices were made, which melted my little brain a little bit. But yeah, so there was a whole load of, like, the aerial artist was very, very good. They did some stuff where there was like a hand balancer, where they had the aerial artist doing some hand balancing and another person doing hand balancing. But the way that they worked was they looked like they were 2 separate acts that they just stuck on the stage together. The singers sang songs from The Greatest Showman and a couple of other songs, including 9 Till 5. The whole thing was very, very CBBC. It was very, very children's stuff. Very tongue-in-cheek, very, like, over-the-top, very, coochie coo, all that shit. And I'll talk about that again in a minute. But the way that it tended to work, they had these dancers coming on who were very athletic dancers. And all of the acrobats got involved with the dancing. And the dancing was very, very on point, even if the choreography wasn't... I didn't think it was great. It wasn't great choreography, but it was snappy and it was on form. It was snappy and it was on form when the sound technician wasn't messing up the sound. There was definitely points where the music was too loud and you couldn't really hear the singers. There was definitely points where the harmonies were off. And I don't know whether that was because they all seem like very professional singers. I don't know whether the harmonies were off because the singers weren't good at harmonizing, or whether the harmonies were off because they couldn't hear each other because the sound balance was off. But there was definitely points where music skipped. There was definitely points where music just stopped for a second. There were points where music cues and like sound effects and stuff like that were completely fucking missed. There was like a point where they took a member of the audience up on stage and he was pressing buttons on like a giant remote control, and he would go, and it would be like, bloop. And it's like, what? And the guy like pressed it and then just kept pressing it until the sound effect happened. And it was just like, what the fuck is this? There was a very funny gag with the mime where they were like, they brought in somebody who was like a deliveryman. Oh, thank you very much, mods. Appreciate that. They brought in a deliveryman, and the deliveryman was like ringing the doorbell on the mime's like house, as it were. So he pressed and nothing happened. And then the mime got up and like literally moved his arm and just went. And the guy pressed it again, and the sound effect went bing bong. And at the time, I was like, "This is hilarious. That's a really good gag. I like that. Like that is really playing into the mime in the fact that the mime is the only person who knows where any of the stuff is. He's the only person who knows where the door is. He knows the only person who knows where the doorbell is and shit like that. That's quite funny. I like that. That's entertaining. But looking in hindsight at how bad the sound was, I was like, was that planned? Was that a planned gag? Or was the sound just that bad? The sound effects just that delayed that the mime covered it? I don't know. Is the answer to the question. Succubus Emo Gat Girl, you beautiful being. Come here, you. What do you like claiming cheeky kisses, you cheeky devil? So yeah, so that all happened. The vast majority of the show was like, there were several points where I was like, please don't do this, please don't do this, please don't do this, please don't do this, please don't do this. Don't do this, don't do this. You know, oh God, they're doing it. Oh, they're doing it. Yeah, that's the whole thing. They're doing it. That's the thing. One of the major choices that they made, and you know what? I will say the independent acts were really, really good. The aerialist, fantastic. Really, really good. The hand balances, very, very good. The acro balance, and they did it. They always fucking did it. They always fucking did it. The one thing that they didn't do, there was a point where I thought they were going to get like kids up on stage to do like a talent show style thing, and they didn't do that. And I'm glad that they fucking didn't, because it looked like they were going to, and I'm like, don't fucking do this, and they didn't do that. But every other time I was like, oh God, don't do this. Please don't do this. Please, please, please don't do this. And they did it every single fucking time. But the independent acts were really, really good. There was like a rollerblade duo who did like acrobatics while they were on roller skates on like a raised stage. That was fantastic. There was a whole load of acro balance that was going on. There was people being flipped and all kinds of stuff. There was a guy in one of the German wheels, the giant German wheels. That was great. Don't spoil it, right? Yeah. There was a whole thing with the German wheel, and that was really, really good. And then they turned the German wheel into a giant aerial wheel, and the guy sort of like did this spinny thing, like holding on with his teeth, and that was fucking excellent. And then this very, very children's TV show. Hi everyone, we're part of the children's TV show. We do kids shows. Yay! Get ready for the Teletubbies. That kind of atmosphere started, just as Rach said, with dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And I literally was just like, they're not doing Tango de la Roxanne. Like one of the most iconic Moulin Rouge songs in the middle of a kids show. Out of nowhere. There was no lead up to it. You don't have to put on that red light, Roxanne. And the two male singers, Max, whatever his face was, and the other guy, like stood at either side, and they sang the two parts, but it didn't sound like they were trying to sing together. It sounded like they were trying to outdo each other. And they were, yeah, like just this song came out of fucking nowhere. Like there was no lead up to it. There was no like, okay, there's a romance arc. There was no romance arc. There was nothing, like none of that shit happened. It just came out of nowhere. And then they had a like the aerialist doing a dance routine and some acro balance with two other male acro artists, and they did like a dance together. Then the two guys had a fight and doing acro balance and stuff, and it was weird. It was just so like, well, literally I was just there going, there wasn't any tango. There was no tango in the Tango de la Roxanne. There was no tango. It was one of my favorite tracks to do Argentina tango to. Yeah, no tango. Something for the parents, a bit of blue for the dads. That's what I was like, bit of blue for the dads. Bit of blue for the dads. You know? No Fanta either. No Fanta, no tango, no Sprite, nothing. God damn it, Zeebs. But I literally was just like, are you fucking shitting me? No, really? I was literally looking around me, and I was like within immediate vicinity, there was at least like a couple of 5-year-olds, a 6-year-old, a 10, 11-year-old, you know? And there was a couple of parents that were like very, very raunchy. And of course, the men were topless, and it was just like, this is bold. This has come out of nowhere. It seems to have no place in the story, what little story there was. And I will say, the mime was very talented, but he went he very quickly, he didn't feel like a mime. He felt much more like a clown, because there was a lot of sound effects as opposed to just miming things out, you know. But he was very funny at times. He sort of constantly hopped between the line of funny and really cringeworthy, which works when you're thinking it's a kids show. Do you know what I mean? Because kids don't cringe the way that I do. Do you know what I mean? So it was like bouncing between these two little, like being really, really cringeworthy and really, really funny. I also really like the fact that he pulled up a guy from the audience who was quite, really quite homophobic. And it wasn't like obviously homophobic, but like he evidently felt a little bit weird by being held by the hand. And like, there was a point where like the mime like fell off his unicycle and hurt his hand. And he was like, kiss my hand. He was like, oh. And the guy was like, he was like, you know, the way that clowns do. So he eventually kissed his hand better. And then he fell off the unicycle again and continued the gag, which was fall off the unicycle. Oh no, I've hurt my hand. Fall off the unicycle. Oh no, I've hurt my cheek. Fall off the unicycle. Oh no, I've hurt my bum. That was the gag. Like, it's the same gag that I've seen so many fucking times, and it happens the same way every single fucking time because it's an escalation 10 out of 10 comedy. Exactly. It is classic old school comedy. And this guy pretty much walked his way off the stage. He walked off the stage. The moment he was like, I'm not kissing you on the cheek. I'm not kissing you on the cheek. I'm not kissing you on the cheek. And he walked off stage, and I was like, I just laughed. I was like, fucking hell, fucking idiot. It's like, how do you not know this basic fucking in-your-face comedy that has literally been around since this guy was a child? Do you know what I mean? It's fucking ridiculous. That made me giggle. That made me laugh. You know? Well, I would have done full mom mode if the mime did that with me. Yeah. Like, that was quite entertaining. The bizarre addition to the Great Showman. Yeah, Tango de la Roxanne. Yeah, it was weird. It was very weird. There was a couple of like magic tricks in there that were quite funny. There was quite some those bits, but the whole thing was just a bit weird. It was just a little bit fucking weird. Going back to the costume design very briefly. The costume design felt very all over the place. There was no sort of theme with it or continuation through it. There was a point where they did shitloads of projections, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with projections in shows by any stretch of the imagination, but the projections were like of really old CG stuff. Like when they were singing 9 till 5 for no reason. When they were singing 9 till 5, there was projections of like, you know, like bull heads that are hung on the wall, like buffalo heads that were hung on the wall, but they were sort of like dancing. I'll chew in fucking chud or whatever. Nom. For no reason. They were just there. I was like, why are these? Why is there a big CG background of dancing bullheads while there's a dance troupe in the front doing very loose line dancing to 9 till 5? I will also say, and those big ensemble moments as well, they were too fucking busy. It was like the dance troupe at the front. Well, they were like the singers at the front. Then dancers behind them, and the dancers would wander in and around all the singers and what have you. And then behind them, they would have acro balancers. But the acro balancers you barely fucking saw because all of the light was at the front of the stage. And I was like, why is there acro balancers at the back? Bring those fuckers, bring the Cirque people to the front of the show. There seems to be a very creative mind behind the show. It felt all over the place. It felt too busy. There was too many things going on at one time. Throughout the entire fucking show, there was just too much going on. Unless it was just the mime, you know? Unless it was just the mime. There was definitely a point where the mime fell asleep and they had a ring moment where the aerial artist climbed out of the TV and then became like a dream person. And it was like, okay, that's all right. MVP, the mime, very important. Yeah. I felt, to me, it felt like the mime was the one who owned the company, if that makes sense. It was like, okay, the mime has owned the company and has made the rest of the show around that. That's how it felt to me. And now that might be completely wrong. I haven't looked into it, but it seems like it was for sure. Seems like someone likes a lot of visual stimulation. Yeah. And maybe that was because it was performing to kids and kids require a lot of visual stimulation, perhaps. It felt too much for me. I really didn't like how busy it was. Because it's also not like the lighting design and the set design and stuff like that. None of it guided your eye. You know, normally when you've got stuff, it's like, okay, the lighting is indicating this sort of area, so this is guiding the eye towards this area or guiding the eye towards that area. But it was just kind of like generic, maybe a couple of spotlights and stuff, but like generic. Oh look, there's loads of shit going on. It was like, oh, okay, well, okay, there's so many things happening. What's going on? Sounds like he was produced by the same person that did the production of Romeo and Juliet in Hot Fuzz. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff happening. Kids tend to be like that, but it can also be a bit overwhelming for some kids too. Yeah. I mean, the kids seem to enjoy it. Some of the parents seem to enjoy it. There was people behind us that were, there was people behind us that were cackling. Absolutely cackling the whole way through it. They thought it was absolutely fucking hilarious. And I'm genuinely happy for them. I'm genuinely happy that other people enjoyed it. And I'm very aware of the fact that I work in events and therefore I'm pretty jaded, is probably the best way I can put it. Pretty jaded when it comes to other productions, because I look at them not only from like an enjoyment point of view, but also from a, okay, where's the structure here? What's the angle? Where's the, like, I'm looking for the things that I look for in my own events, you know? I want to think if there's anything else I need to say before I talk about the grand finale. Yeah, right. I was just trying to think, is there anything else I need to say before the grand finale? Oh, Milky Pork. Oh, Milky Pork. Yeah, there's more. There's so much more. Oh, talk about costume design. So there was a point in the show, okay, where the projection screen came down, and across the screen you saw this Max guy, Max whatever his fucking name was, Max Fox or whatever. He showed up on a projection. It was like old TV projection thing. That's what I'm just about to get to, Rach. You're jumping ahead, Rach. You're jumping ahead. Old TV projection screen, and that guy was there in like a shiny, weird off-cut outfit. It was very weirdly put together, but I think it was meant to be like quite out there and zany, you know. And he was like, "Come one, come all. We're here today. We're looking for new talent for our circus." It was like, "Now is the day. Don't delay. Come on down to the circus." And the idea was that the mime had seen the advert and was like, "Oh my god, I could run away and join the circus." Now, when I saw that advert, I immediately was like, they're going to get kids up here. They're going to get kids up to do some shit. And that's going to really upset me. This is like, oh, no worries, Rachel. I'm don't worry. I got that. So there was, they got it. I was like that. That was the point where I was like, they're not going to do that. Jesus Christ. No, please don't do that. And then they didn't at all. At that point, the mime was like, oh my God. I can go now. I can go and join the circus. So the mime left his home and traveled to go and join the circus. So they traveled to some far off distant place that looked kind of like Mardi Gras Brazil. They had a lot of Mardi Gras music going on, and like the ladies were wearing very sparkly outfits and the men were wearing sort of weird Hawaiian shirts. Apart from two guys who were there as part of the show. And they were doing all the dances like everybody else, but everyone else was in like pinks and teals and greens. And these two guys were in like a maroon outfit with very tribal style decoration on it. Or certainly what looked like very tribal style decoration, like big blocks of gold in a very tribal style thing. And the two guys that were wearing these were black. They were black gentlemen. And I can honestly say it took us off guard when everyone else was in exactly the same outfits, all choreographed, all dancing around, and these two guys come on, and they weren't doing anything in particular. They were just there, and I was just like, oh, okay. And I appreciate the fact that I am a white cisgender man, so maybe there was something there that I completely missed or what have you. But I was like, that's a choice. That's a choice to put two black guys in outfits that look very tribal when everyone else is in very different outfits, very more Mardi Gras style outfits. That's a choice. Okay, how's it going, Denny? How you doing, you beautiful bean? And there was a part of me, like, because I was saying to Rach, I was like, is it just me? Am I just have I just overreacted to this? And I was like, maybe they like they're doing a different thing, and maybe that's like their costume when they toured, just doing their own show. Do you know what I mean? And they've been brought in because, like, when I hire people for my cabaret and stuff like that, like, I don't give them outfits. They just wear whatever their outfits are. Do you know what I mean? Whether they're doing circus stuff or whether they're doing ballet stuff or what have you, I book them as a performer and they bring their own outfits. So I was like, maybe that's the case. Maybe they have made the decision to wear those outfits themselves. And if that's the case, fair enough. You know, that's grand. If they've got like a costume designer that made those things, that is a choice. That is a choice. And a choice that makes me, as a cisgender white man, feel particularly uncomfortable. The Cape Minstrels have maroon and gold things sometimes. Don't know who they are. Oop. Let me have a look. None of the images I'm seeing is showing anything. That was the colors. Yeah. In fact, you know what? Maybe I can find it. Let's have a look. Because it looks, from what I'm seeing from the just Google images, it looks like they have a variety of different entertainers on. So I was like, maybe that's just like their thing. Oh, shush. No, and there's nothing in their trailer. I thought maybe it'd pop up in their trailer and I could show you from that. But nothing that I could see. Nothing that I could see. But yeah, it was certainly a choice. I mean, it's a Cape Town celebration. Okay, similar to Mardi Gras. Okay, none of the outfits that I saw when I did a Google image didn't match what we saw last night. Bit controversial now and then. Okay. I know one of the dance troupes I saw recently had costumes themed around gardening. They were dancing to a medley of songs and lyrics about flowers. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I will say, like, perhaps it's just like an act that they've taken from somewhere else and then put it into the show. I'm open to being wrong, and as you always know, I'm very open to being wrong. I'm open to the dynamic of maybe I misread something 100%. What I will say is when we first saw it, there was definitely a moment where I was like, they haven't. There's no way they have done that. Jesus. Because the next bit after that routine, the next bit was Circus Got Talent. Okay? Where these two guys went on and did their own routine where they did like foot acrobatics, where one of them was like laid down on a bench and was flipping the other one around using their feet. Sometimes you see people do it with like boards and umbrellas and stuff like that, but this was like a full acrobatics. And do you know what? It was impressive. There was a point where one of them fell, but accidents happen. But nobody was hurt. They just got back up and continued doing it or what have you. And it was genuinely very, very impressive. Good feats of strength and acrobatics and what have you. And I was like, okay, maybe that is just the outfit that they wear for this. Like, they have this one routine and they take that routine everywhere, and they got asked to bring it into this show. Because from what I can see from like Google, it looks like they have a large variety of different acts they have within the Cirque show itself, But if it wasn't, like, I accept the fact that there are a variety of different reasons why it could have been their own choice. It could have been their own dynamic. It could have been what they choose to wear and what have you. In which case, that's their choice. I mean, nothing else. But if it wasn't, I was like every other outfit here seems to have been actively designed for this show, which makes me think that those were actively designed for this show, and it's very yeah, it just made me feel deeply uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? And I say that fully understanding that I am a privileged cisgender white man. Do you know what I mean? But I was just like, that's a choice. That's a fucking choice. Good feats of strength. Good Lord, Doom Hippie. Good fucking Lord. Oh my God. And then, after they'd finished their thing, the mime appeared. And the singers, the three singers, were like the Britain's Got Talent judges, the Cirque Got Talent judges. And this story came up. The mime pulled out all of these sheets of paper and was like, hello. And all the audience shouted, hello. Read what was on the sheets of paper. It was like, hello, I am a mime. I have been waiting 19 years to be in front of this judging panel. Blah, 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 blah. Like this whole thing of like how the mime had been waiting 19 years to get in front of the Circus Got Talent judging panel and wanted to show us his tricks and all that jazz. And did this routine where they had like a giant balloon and they did some magic tricks with this giant balloon and a pack of cards, and they got somebody up from the audience and all that jazz. And it was all right. It was all right. I've seen lots of similar things before, so I can imagine for all the kids that was probably absolutely marvelous because they won't have seen anything like that before. For me, who's seen quite a few things like that before, I was like, oh yeah, fair enough. It's one of them things. And then, of course, the mime gets the golden buzzer. Yeah, you've got the golden buzzer. Congratulations. You are now part of the circus. It was a whole thing. I feel I have to come in too late to understand what the issue was with their outfits. Basically, everyone was in very coordinated green, pink, and teal outfits. And then there were 2 black performers who were dressed in very tribal looking outfits. It looked like they had been designed to look tribal. And I was quite shocked by that. I was quite shocked, to say the least. But yeah. But yeah, so they pressed the golden buzzer. Way! I think they were the only persons of color on the stage at that point as well. Yes, because there were 2 other black performers that did all the roller skate stuff, but I don't think they were on the stage at that time. They were fantastic. The roller skaters were absolutely fucking fantastic. Yeah. I don't think they were on stage at that time either. So it was quite a stark contrast. To say the least. But yeah, so they did the golden buzzer. Golden buzzer, way the mime has joined the circus. Then What was his name, Rach? What was his name? Max something or other? Max something. Got up from the judges panel. Max Fox. I was like, how's you coming in with the 10 streams in a row you've been streaking through? It's a bloody storm outside. Storming all over the place. You get bloody freezing. Real windy. Your flappy bits be flapping. Much more comfortable outfit. Cheeks out time. Which is, as we know, always the cheeks out. Yeah. Bloody storm outside. I don't know how you manage it. So Max Fox got up and started singing a classic Frank Sinatra song. Now, given the random nature of the songs up until that point, obviously there was like the songs from The Greatest Showman and stuff like that had happened. There was also a little memory of mine. There was a really sad song in like the middle of it, which was weird as shit, because while every single time that a singer was singing one of the songs, or multiple singers were singing one of the songs, there were dancers and or acrobats in the background doing some kind of dance to the song that they were singing. Okay, that was like a whole thing that was going on. But there was a really sad song that was being sung, and it was really off-putting because the performers had massive grins on their faces, like stage grin. You know, like when you've had it drilled into you over and over and over again. Smile. You need to smile when you're dancing. You need to smile when you're doing your acrobats. Always smile in front of the judges. Always smile in front of the audience. That's what it was like. It was like... It was unnerving as shit because the song was really sad. And I was like, this is weird. This is really fucking weird. He was on Britain's Got Talent and essentially stormed the judges' table begging to perform when he thought he'd auditioned multiple times over the years and never made it through. I read that it meant someone shouldn't then have their turn at performing for the judges, and I think that's quite mean. Tinks, I'll straight up tell you right now that the way that Britain's Got Talent works, is that would never have been allowed. That will have all been staged. The whole thing, when it comes to Britain's Got Talent, when it comes to all of those stage shows, all of those talent shows, every single thing is really carefully coordinated. It's really, really carefully coordinated. All of the sob stories. Like, I know because I've got a friend who was, I won't say which of the big talent shows it was, but it was one of the big talent shows. And I got a friend where they literally were like, this is my talent. This is what I'm going to do. And they were like, cool. What's your story? Why are you doing it? And they were like, because I want to do it. And they were like, okay, that's not going to really sell. Could you give us something that's a little bit more, like a little bit more of a sob story? Like a reason why people should want to vote for you. It's all orchestrated. It's all scripted. Didn't realize because the judges and crew have all denied that it was planned. Yeah, I know that happened, Tinks. I know exactly that happened because as Max Fox got up and started singing I Did It My Way. I'm sure it was I Did It My Way. As he started singing I Did It My Way, the screen dropped so they could start sweeping up all the golden buzzer shit from behind it. And they projected his audition. His audition. They projected the whole thing with subtitles of him storming the stage. I can guarantee that definitely was scripted, because if anybody had tried storming the stage in that fashion, they would have been escorted out by security. Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. They will not have taken any kind of risks like that by any stretch of the imagination. When the show's been going on for a while, yeah, exactly. When the show's been going on for a while, they need drama to keep people interested. So they'll plant them. They're like, "Oh, would you mind getting up, like sitting in the audience, and then getting up and like causing a scene, like you've been wanting to do it for years and years and years, and you haven't been able." That will have all been scripted. Absolutely, scripted. But yeah, he got up and he literally sang "I Did It My Way," one of the most famous songs that exists in the world, while projecting in massive like screen with subtitles his own audition, his own storming of the stage, and how he got up on stage and how he got the golden buzzer. Literally, I was like, you're shitting me. Could this guy get his own penis in his mouth any further? It was honestly like the biggest fucking self-fellatio I have ever seen. He was blowing his own trumpet like there's nobody's business. He was like, I've been on Britain's Got Talent, and here's me singing one of the most famous songs in the entire fucking world. And here's me projected, just in case you didn't know who I am, just in case you weren't aware of who I was. Look, there's me on Britain's Got Talent. There's me. This is my story. Also, the same story that the mime had. This is my story. I had waited 19 years. 19 years to be on the Britain's Got Talent stage, and they wouldn't let me, so I stormed the stage. I made it happen. Look at me, there's me on Britain's Got Talent. You know, all the famous thing that you all watch on television, that's me. I'm a famous person. Me, famous person, yes. And here he is now doing this show. I'll have the microphone. Oh, Zeebs, he will, like, the thing about Britain's Got Talent and all of those talent shows, and I know this for, like, a pseudo fact. I say pseudo fact because not everybody's this arrogant, but nearly everybody that has been on a show like that triples their fees as soon as they've been on the TV. As soon as they have been on the TV, they triple their fees. And the reason why they do it is because from that point onwards, everybody can put on their posters when it's like, okay, I'm going to go play this social club or what have you. They can put on the posters just being like, as seen on Britain's Got Talent. And people are like, oh, Britain's Got Talent. Oh, we'll go along and see them because they were on Britain's Got Talent. It was fucking ridiculous. I believe the phrase that I used was, I'm surprised he didn't have his own foreskin lodged in his larynx. He was that far deep throating himself. It was fucking ridiculous. I have never seen the like. Now, maybe I'm benefit of the doubt. I'm a benefit of the doubt kind of person. Maybe that was a choice from the producers to be like, hey, let's rub it in that we've got a Britain's Got Talent star. What we'll do is you come to the front of the stage and play your thing, and we'll put your projection. And he might have been, do you know what? That's a bit too much. You shouldn't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. And they just overruled him. They have that right to do that. They have that right to do that. But I can't see that happening. It was fucking ridiculous. I have never seen the like in my life. I literally the whole way through was like, I was flabbergasted. My mouth had dropped. My mouth doesn't drop fucking anything. I am very rarely like, and I'm pretty sure I got a little bit of his fucking self-indulgence caught in my fucking teeth. It was Ridiculous. I can't even. It was like the whole show was just bent around this fact that, oh, well, we've got a famous person on our stage. Oh, my God. Anything reality is carefully orchestrated. Their only dialogue will be unscripted. Even then, I think that most dialogue is scripted. I think you'll get the occasional one, like when the girl did. There was a woman that did a Pink song many moons ago. That's coming out recently. A lot of people are playing it again recently, but they did a Pink song. And the judges were like, you shouldn't do a Pink song. Pink isn't for you. And she literally was just like, you told me to do a Pink song. I didn't want to do a Pink song, but you all told me that I had to do a Pink song. So here I am doing a Pink song. Because she looked like her style was a little bit like Pink. So they were like, you all told me that I had to do a Pink song. And she fucking, I seem to remember that she lobbed the fucking microphone at them or something like that. She was so distraught that she fucking threw the microphone and was like, fuck you. Fuck you. You said that I had to do a Pink song. And I didn't want to do a Pink song. Show's been going for a while. Saw reviews for 2024. Jesus Christ. In which case, yeah, like, yeah. In which case, I think what they probably do then is they have a loose kind of script with this Circus show and then just copy and paste shit in as they see fit. Why the fuck they've got Tango della Roxana in there, I've got no idea. But anyway, that's the bit that was probably the most jarring. Everything else, I was like, oh my fucking God, are you for real? But that was the bit that was like most jarring. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Have you seen Peter Kay's Britain's Got the Pop Factor and possibly a new Jesus Christ soap superstar, Strictly on Ice? It's the best send-up of all of those shows that you could ask for. No. I didn't even realize Peter Kay was back doing work again. I know he took a massive time, took loads of time off, you know? Storming the Sage, more like mild shower, yeah. At this point, he was complaining I'd run out of wine and noped out. Yeah, it was, I was like, because there's having worked in showbiz, there's very little that like astonishes me. There's very little where I'm like, you are actually kidding me. There's no fucking way they've actually done this. There's no way that they've done this.
Ooh, little stalker.
Thank you so much for the follow. I don't like to call people out just in case they're lurking, but you are very welcome here, you beautiful bean. Very welcome. Yeah, there's very little that like genuinely I'm like, fucking what? And this show was full of it. Absolutely fucking full of it. And then after that, after like he did it, I did it my way and what have you, they did like the grand finale, which was of course I'm Just Me from Greatest Showman. And then the all of the bows came. They started doing all the bowing. But the bowing order was really weird. I remember correctly. Let me catch up with chat and then I'll explain why in a minute because the adverts are still on. Fan service for those came for the name. Yes, exactly. Which is the reason why they can charge 3 times the amount. Britain's Got Talent, Star Me, I Bestow You, Peasants Within My Presence. Yeah, exactly that. So in conclusion, this was the most memorable show that you've ever done seen. It will definitely haunt me for a while. Nibrin, it has to be said. It will definitely haunt me for a while. How you doing, Grito? How's it going? I never ask. Is Val okay? How's everything going? I like the shirt. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm a fan of the shirt myself. Yeah, I'm just talking about this awful show that I saw on Sunday night. Oh, it was bad. It was just fucking bad. They also styled her to look like Pink. Yeah, exactly. They styled her to look like Pink, told her that she should sing Pink songs, and then were like, you shouldn't sing Pink songs. They literally set her up so that they could embarrass her on stage. That's what they did. They set her up so that they could embarrass her on stage. And she was like, you told me to fucking sing this. And I'm glad that she did. I'm really glad that she did. I'm glad that she fucking stood her ground and was like, no, You told me. That came out years ago, but well worth a watch. Yeah, it was wild. I think she was on, it was a Pink tribute in her spare time and went on Britain's Got Talent to do something new and be herself and show everyone that she was not just Pink. And they were like, no, lass, be Pink. It will be better. Oh, right. Okay. Isn't that their whole modus operandi, though? Isn't that written into their contract or something? Not saying that it's right, of course. Yeah. So the whole thing is about taking the piss out of people. Obviously, with everything that happened with Ozzy Osbourne and stuff, there's been quite a few things that have popped up with Sharon Osbourne recently. And one of the things is like Sharon Osbourne literally having a go at two of the other judges, Simon Cowell and the other guy. Oh, I can't remember his name for the life of me now. Being like, she's a fucking, like, a girl got up and she auditioned and the guys ripped her to fucking pieces. And she was 16 years old. And she literally like got up and was like, yeah, love, come on. You don't have to listen to this. Come with me. You don't have to listen to this. You don't have to listen to their like horrific fucking words. Just come with me. We'll sort it out. And then she came back and was like, are you fucking for real? She's 16 years old. She's 16 years old. She doesn't deserve that fucking punishment. She doesn't deserve you being that. And they're like, well, she was shit. Well, she was shit. And it's like, no, you're a cunt. Stop being a fucking cunt. She's 16. And there's a lot of things that I don't like about Sharon Osbourne. Over the years, there's a lot of things that she's done that I disagree with. But moments like that, I'm like, yeah, fucking good on you. Good on you for sticking up against these fucking absolute douche canoes who have, like, again, probably sucked their own penis as much as this fucking guy did on the stage. I was like, this is a kid's show. What the fuck? How is this guy allowed to metaphorically suck his own dick this hard when there's kids in the audience? Metaphorically, by the way. He didn't actually do it. But it felt that way. It felt that way. It was because he was just blowing his own fucking trumpet. It was bloody ridiculous. Yeah, then they did the grand finale, which was decidedly average. I seem to remember watching it being like, again, there's too much going on here. There's too much happening. And then, oh yeah, then they did the curtain call, like the thingy, and the dancers came forward and they bowed, and each of the performers individually came forward and they did all their bows and stuff. And the thing is, then everyone else gave them a standing ovation. We didn't. I was like, I can't give this a standing ovation. I'll applaud them because it's evidently, like, they've evidently worked hard. Even if it's a show that I don't approve of, even if it's a show that I think was decidedly average, the performers have worked hard. I'll give them an applause, but I'm not standing. This doesn't deserve a standing ovation. I gave Rocky Horror Picture Show a standing ovation both times I went to see it because it was excellent. Very, very, very good. Not perfect, but very, very good. Worth the standing ovation, you know? But I was just like... And then the bit that got me, though, was the way that these things tend to work when it comes to standing ovations, or when it comes to the curtain call. You usually do it in order of priority. Okay? I hope to someday earn a Val and Vane standing ovation. I'll have to come see you perform, Alexander Griffin. I have to come see you perform. And I'll let you know. Well, you'll see, because you'll see whether I stand or not. You'll see whether I stand or not. But yeah, the way that they casting calls tend to work, it tends to go in order of importance. So in this scenario, you'll get like the dancers first, then you'll get some of the acrobats, then you'll get like more the people that were more like less involved as the time goes on, etc., right the way up to the main performer. And the main performer was the mime, because the mime was the one that ran the show. The whole story was about the mime. Everything to do with the entire fucking setup was about the mime. But the mime bowed with Max Fox. And I was like the two singers came and bowed, and then afterwards the mime and Max Fox came and bowed. And I was like, what the fuck? Max Fox, in my personal opinion, should have bowed with the singers. With the other singers. He was a singer. Sure, he was a famous singer, but he was a singer. The star of the show was the mime. So I was like, what the actual fuck? And it was only this morning. It was only this morning when I literally looked it up because I was like, what was that fucking show we watched? Blah, blah, blah. And I saw the poster and I realized that Max Fox was meant to be the ringmaster. He was meant to be the greatest showman. It was never, ever, apart from the bit where he was like doing the voiceover for the advert, where he's like, come one, come all, come join the circus. That was the only bit of the entire show that made him look like a ringmaster. Every other time, everything else, he was just a singer. Just a singer. That was it. So I was like, what the actual fuck? And like I said, everyone else gave him the standing ovation. Everybody else fucking stood up and they applauded. And we just sat there and was like, pub? Pub. Pub. Let's go to the pub. Let's go to the pub. Went to the pub round the back of the thing. If you've seen my review of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you will know exactly which pub we went to. And we walked in. And we got to the bar because went straight to the bar. And the woman was over and she's like, oh, you all right? How's it going? And I was like, yeah. She was like, all right, okay, you've been to see a show? I'm like, yep, went to see the Circus show. They were like, oh, how was it? Shite. Fucking shite. And then we proceeded to give our honest opinions about the show. We proceeded to talk about it, and I'll openly admit we are not its target audience. Its target audience are between the ages of 4 and 11. All right, we're not its target audience, and also like people who work in events, you know. We were definitely not its target audience because people who work in events are obviously much harder to impress because you know what you're looking for, you know how it all works, you can't help but look into how things work, you know what I mean? One of the things that I literally sat there and was working out how much money they made from the tickets that they sold in that theater. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of thing that just happens because I've worked in events for so long. I'll just sit there and be like, oh, that's really interesting. Okay, it's like a third full. What's the capacity of this theater? Okay, this is how much the tickets were. How much do I think they made off this one show? Interesting. I wonder if they make that for their entire tour. How much are they going to make for the entire tour? You know? Like those things I find really interesting because I'm a nerd and I love my industry, you know? But we went to the bar and it was, I will say, I did find it very, I think I used the word traumatized, and she told everyone who came in, yeah, exactly right. We were sat in the bar and other people came in from the show and they'd come and they'd sit down and they were singing and they'd go around and they'd be like, oh, do you have a good time? And people were like, oh yeah, it was really good. Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. And every single time, either of the bar staff asked anybody in the fucking bar whether they had a good time at the show. The people were like, yeah, they had a really good time. And then they'd just look, they'd literally be like, do you have a good time? Do you have a good time? Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Did you have a good time? Every single time. It was like, honestly, a fucking game for them. The way that they literally were just like we had the polar fucking opposite experience to everybody else. Everyone, oh yeah, no, it was really good. It was very good. Very talented people on the stage. Oh my lordy. What about you two? What about you? Did you have a good time? Did you? What's that? What's traumatic? Got a traumatic time watching. Oh, look! Do you see those two didn't have a good time? They thought it was. They didn't think it was very good. It was fucking ridiculous. But by that point, we just didn't care. We were just like, yeah, fuck this noise. Fuck this noise. We don't give a shit. It was awful, and we spent a good, I would say, half an hour, 40 minutes. Talking about all the different elements of it that made it so bad. And Rachel literally turned around to me and was like, have I done something to you? Have I wronged you in some way? Have I hurt you in some way, shape, or form that you would choose to expose me to this? I was like, Like wanting a new hire with 15 years experience for no pay? Yes. Yeah. Of course they have to fillet themselves. Nobody else would do it for free. That is fair. That is fair, Bob Bushman. That is absolutely fair. Sounds like if he could do it, he'd do the Human Centipede solo show. Yes, I could see that for sure. 2000s and 2010 music reality was sadly a route into some absolute power trips for people of influence and on TV and music. Yeah, completely agree. So glad that a lot of the artists can now find their own way through streaming and independent self-promotion. Yeah. Do you know what? Some of the greatest artists that I've found, some of the greatest bands that I've found of recent times have come through TikTok. Just literally hearing a little clip and being like, oh, that's an interesting band. I'll check them out on YouTube. One of the bands that we listened to the other day, the other week, when I was, one of the intro songs was from a Spanish band. And I was like, fucking hell, this is great. I found on, again, TikTok. It was like, fucking hell, this is a really interesting sound. Let's go. You know? Maybe they were drinking the same water as the people in the club you were hosting. Maybe. For sure. Yeah, 100%. Well, if he was meant to be Barnum appropriate, he also had a massive ego. That's fair. That is fair. And you know what? I'm absolutely giving this guy I'm potentially giving this guy a disservice. Maybe he's actually a really humble dude and it's down to the producers. They were like, oh my God, we've got somebody from Britain's Got Talent. Let's go. And I will also say my overall view of the entire show was like, especially like now I've sat and thought about it and what have you, it felt like we have spent too much money. In fact, do you know what I call it? It was Queen of the Damned. Queen of the Damned. We have spent too much money on one singer. We can't afford to get loads of circus acts. There was a lot of dancers. And dancing for a circus show. Nothing wrong with having dancers in a circus show by any stretch of the imagination. Dancers are very, very important in a circus show, 110%. But there was a lot of dancers and dancing for a circus show. These people had a good, you should have as well. Yeah, no, we definitely not. Definitely not. I thought the one giving my opening line was, we're traumatized, give me wine. Yeah. Is this a punishment? Is this a thing? How's it going, Duchess Mona? Coming in with the 7 streams in a row. Good lord. God, it's a storm outside, Duchess Mona. It's a bloody storm outside. How are you streaking in this? Good lord. So what we learn is that punishment for 25k bits is this torture. Yeah, that's it. That is exactly what it is. You have bratted me on stream. I'm going to take you to see a decidedly shit Cirque show. And do you know what? I will absolutely play devil's advocate and say we are not the target audience. The target audience were definitely children. The children seemed to love it. The families seemed to love it. It was like, say, standing ovation. People stood up and they fucking thought it was absolutely fantastic. I will also add to that, I think that's because they didn't know any better. I'm sure that if you have sat and watched nothing but Peppa Pig and the Tweenies, that a show like that will be hugely impressive. If you've had an entire holiday of watching nothing but the fucking Teletubbies and In the Midnight Garden, then I have no doubt that a show like that will be fucking mind-blowing. Right? But for somebody as jaded as me personally, I won't speak for age, but for me personally, someone as jaded as me, yeah. It was bad. It was fucking bad. Oh, jeez. And do you know what? I will say, like, the show itself is going to some massive, massive places. Massive places. Like, big theaters across the UK. They're bouncing all over the place, like. But, and it's on till November. But there wasn't enough Circus in it for me. Oh, click for past performances. Oh, Jesus. So they started in April? They started in... I thought that the show we went to last night was the first of the thingies, but no. They started in April. And they're going on through till November. Oh, fuck off. Hold on. Hold on. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76. Any dates that I missed? That's a long tour. That is a long tour. Jesus Christ. $77. 77 shows. $77 shows. Let's say 4. Huh? 77 shows a real long tour. Right, where was I? You have a point, yeah. And then the torture continued. We were voice noting a friend of mine about the show, and I described it as PG Valen, and then needed to explain what PG Valen was to her, and resulted in Valen snatching the phone of me and doing PG Valen. That is true, yeah. I definitely did a bit more PG Valen of the evening for sure. Love the rain, especially good storm. Honestly, Duchess Demona, I'm with you. Fucking love a good storm. Can be dangerous for 2 producers to go to a show, to be fair. Yeah, very much so. Very, very much so, for sure. Well, you got 50k redeemed for free. So, friend, vulva inverted as a result of PG Valen calling her a good girl. That's true. That's true. That was good fun. So I've still got a chance to get tickets. Yeah, you still have a chance to get tickets. There is still a good, like 60 odd dates available. As a common reaction, and to be fair, it should be come with severe dryness warning. It's a drought. For sure. Do it and tell us that we were wrong. Yeah, exactly. That's right, friends. Yeah, now that you've had my glowing review, you should all go see Cirque, The Greatest Show Reimagined, and tell us if we were wrong. Tell us if perhaps it's just that, you know, just really fucking jaded. Perhaps we're just really fucking jaded, and we should reevaluate everything, you know? You know? Valen can count to 76. Wow. I know, right? That's a long run for a barnyard. I have... Yeah, it's a wild one. Luna Love, hello, you beautiful being. I have no idea how you got here either. I don't think I've had any raids today. You just have stumbled on. Maybe some autoplay has got you here. How you doing? Welcome on in, you beautiful bean. Yeah, it's a long, I will say that's a really long tour. That's a really long tour. 77 shows? The longest tour I've ever done was 104 shows, and that nearly killed me. But that was 104 shows over 2.5 months. So that was like a lot more intense, but that's wild. They must swap in acts in and out because with it being that long. It wouldn't surprise me, especially given the fact that I like did a Google image earlier. They've got loads of different styles of act in there. It wouldn't surprise me, Rach, if like they've got acts from like touring circuses and stuff. Thank you so much, you beautiful being. So like actual like big top touring circuses, and people like when the big tops are not touring, these circus performers put themselves out there and they're just like, hey, I'm available on these dates. And they're like, yeah, you can come in for these nights or these 2 weeks or what have you. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Also means that it keeps it fresh. But I suppose that kind of also might explain why the story was so loose. Because if by having like a really loose story, it means that it's very flexible when you can just bring in acts as you want, you know. Barnyard is a local musical theater franchise. They put on themed musical shows like the music of the 80s, Elvis reimagined, bring your own food type thing. Oh, wow. Okay. Not come across that before. Also, thank you very much, Luna Love, for your follow. I appreciate you. Our show has a surge in popularity. We have special thanks to give Val and Vane for the recommendation to their audience. Could you imagine? They'd come back and watch the stream and be like, fucking hell, that guy's a right dickhead. Can't believe he was so fucking mean. It's my opinion. I'm sure they're all very, very nice people. I'm sure they're all very, very nice people. They seemed like genuinely really, really nice people. I could tell that they all worked really fucking hard, especially the aerial artist. There was a woman who was like an aerial performer, and I swear she must do all of the shows because she was like, she did. I think everybody performed once or twice, but she did like 8 acts. She did a lot. She carried the entire circus part of the show was primarily carried by her. And there was some good, I will say there was some really good acts in there. There was a couple of them, like especially the roller skaters and the guy in the big German wheel, or the Sire wheel, I believe it's also called. I was like, I would love to have a stage big enough to put them on my stage because they were very, very good. They were really good. But I'm also like, in which case I also actually rage if they are getting in interchangeable acts, that may also explain why some of the costumes clashed. Because if they're bringing in different acts all the time, I would imagine that the acts wear their own costumes. They will come in with their own costume. In which case, the previous statement about my astonishment about the costume will have been their own choice, and obviously they're welcome to do that as they see fit. I guess we know how long Max is sustaining. Oh yeah, Jesus Christ. Well, he'll love it as well. Could you imagine 77 shows of sucking your own dick? You know? I think perhaps my cat opened the tab, so thanks, Kitty. Hi, Kitty. Yeah, Kitty has good taste. I appreciate it. Just give yourself fair warning that I am a colossal filth wizard. Filth and debauchery is what I talk about. What I will say, what I learned from this experience, having gone and watched it, it made me really realize that my expectations for my own show are too high. all the shows I do, I'm like, it needs to be fucking phenomenal. And I see a show like that, and I've just done a quick calculation as to how much money they are likely to make on that tour. Obviously, they've got a lot of people, a lot of outgoings, but purely like incomings, not like profit, but like incomings. They are making a cosmic fuck ton. If every single one of the shows, every single one of the theatrical shows was the same sort of capacity and volume of the show that we went to see on Sunday, quick guesstimation guesses, that's like, yeah, they're making a hell of a lot of money. I can understand why they can buy a robot dog now. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I understand why you bought a robot dog, because you can. A lot of the acrobat stuff was just kind of slotted in. Yeah, it definitely felt that way. What a dickhead. So mean. 5 stars. Yeah. If you've been affected by tonight's discussions about Cirque, the greatest show reimagined, support is available. Please contact the Society for the Prevention of Theatrical Crimes, or just lie down in a dark room until the sequins stop flashing. You are not alone. There was also a couple of things, like a couple of the costumes where I was like, what is that? Robot dog. You must have missed it. They bought one of these, Alexandra. They had one of these. So the story, the loose story, which do you know what? I can understand if it was, like if they've got loads of different acts that they've got to shoehorn in, then I can understand why they've got like a very loose story. Loose stories I can work with if everything else is good, but it wasn't. But the story was about a mime who, in this scenario, bordered on clown, and there was some bits that were very, very funny. What, in the Black Mirror? Yeah. So it was about a mime and his dog. So a mime who lived in an orphanage and came from a long line of mimes who befriended a stray dog. What was the dog's name? Because I remember the dog being given a name and being like, are you fucking kidding me? Can't remember what the thing is. But maybe that's not that robot dog. Yeah. So, and then like the all of the imagery, because the beginning was like all projection. It was like a storybook with all these pictures and what have you. And the imagery, it was a little boy and an actual dog. And then the mime came on stage with one of these on a lead. And I was like, really? And my first thought, I literally spoke to Rachel. I literally was like, the reason why that's here is because somebody has bought a robot dog and needs it to be tax deductible. Somebody's bought this robot dog, and I will say, programming wise, and the way that the dog moved, the dog did little tricks. It jumped through a hoop, it stood on its back legs, it rolled over, it did all of this stuff that the vast majority of people couldn't see because it was like too low to the ground. But anyway, this robot dog, and bearing in mind that these robot dogs cost somewhere between this specific style of robot dog costs somewhere between £2,500 to £3,500. Somewhere between £2,500 to £3,500. So I think basically whoever runs the company bought a robot dog and went, I need to be able to make this tax deductible. Quick, stick it in a show. Because the dog didn't lend itself to anything. There was no, they literally could have been like, there was a mime once upon a time who was an orphan, who came from a long line of mimes, and he didn't like living in an orphanage, so he ran away, and now he's a mime on the street. That would have, now he's a mime, and he's grown up, and he dreams of being in the circus. That would have worked just as well without the fucking dog. But they needed to shoehorn a dog in there so they could make it tax deductible, you know? Sneeze. Yeah, that was a whole thing. It is very disconcerting having a dog without a head or a tail. There was no wagging tail. There was no head. It was very peculiar. Oh fuck, we forgot about the boxes that spelt Circ. Just in case we weren't aware of the show. Like, it's one thing to have the projections at the back that are all full of ridiculous fucking CG iconography and shit like that. It's another thing to have all these different things. But then they brought on black boxes that on some points they were like balancing on and doing bits and pieces on. And then they turned them round and they spelt Circ. And it was like, oh my god, no, no, you haven't done this, no. You didn't actually do that. To be fair, last time I could do that, it did not feel like an experience worth repeating 77 times. No. No. I will also say that the dancers and at least one of the singers and a couple of the acrobats as well, they certainly appeared very young. Like, have just qualified from dance school very young. 18, 19, maybe 20 at a push. So I can fully, and you know what? I can fully get, having been there myself, I can fully get that whole dynamic of being like, oh my god, I'm straight out of university and I've got a gig, like touring already. I'm already doing a 77 show tour. I'm already doing a tour that lasts 8 months. Like, I can see the excitement. You know what I mean? I can see the way it goes. I would be interested. Do you know what? I'm never going to do it, but there is a part of me that is morbidly curious to see what their show would be like towards, like, the end of October. I would never spend that money again, but I'd be intrigued to see what the show's like at the end of October, to see how fatigued they are. And how fucking done of tour life they are. I don't know if they're professional performers, you'll never be able to know it, because when you get on stage, you become the character and no one will ever fucking know. But sometimes it leaks through. Sometimes. I'll stick to Madame Zingara for my Circus Cabaret exposure. Fair. We should have been concerned when there wasn't a queue at the bar. Yeah. I thought we were just late, Rach. I thought it was just like, we're just late, you know? Because we got there, like, literally 5 minutes before doors. Ooh. Oh, no. Thinking of putting on 1 or 2 shit shows to buy a robot dog for your next Ken. I'm not going to lie to you, Milky Pork. Having seen that show, having spent a good few hours of my life watching that show, it did very much make me think I could do a better show. It did very much make me think I could do like a Cirque de Ken, for example. See you later, Grio. You take it easy, beautiful bean. Thanks very much for stopping by. I appreciate that. That occurred to me. The thing about doing something like that is you've got to have the financial backing first. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable turning around and hiring performers for like 3 months worth of tour without knowing that I could pay them, you know? You got a sponsored link for a discount? Jesus Christ. Right. Nail on the head. Yeah. First thought as well was Black Mirror. Yeah. Maybe not that robot dog. They have a fairly limited battery drive. That would explain why they were only on twice. The dog was literally on twice. It was a thing. It was just pointless. It just didn't need to be there. You know? But then I will say that an awful lot of the show, like I said, the show felt really, really busy. So there was an awful lot of times where I was just like, this doesn't need to be as busy as this. You could literally have done this entire routine without the 4 people at the back. Or you could have done this entire routine with just having the acro balancers and none of the dancers. Or get rid of the singers, have the singers sing off stage. You know? Dog died in parts replaced with Cybertronics. What are you saying is fucking Robocop, but as a dog, Midgarder? It is Robo-Dog. Bailey Circuit. Fucking the new age K9. Might be why it was only on stage for 3 minutes in total, the start and the end. Yeah. Yeah. I did notice, Rach, that the fucking robot dog did not have a curtain call. Didn't have a curtain call. You know? Can you find a way to put a boiler in one of your shows? To be fair, Nibberin, if I take a photo of the boiler and stick it on Instagram, that's content creation. That works, right? That works, yeah. Why is my nose suddenly so itchy? 20 years old, pretty much retirement age for gymnasts. Yeah, but retirement age for gymnasts. The thing about when it comes down to it, Bob Bushman, because I've done a lot of, I got really into learning about circus and stuff a while back. That is the perfect age for gymnasts to join circus, because by 20 to 25 years old, by that point, gymnasts are done with competitions. They can't compete in the competitions anymore, but they've still got an amazing like feats of strength, feats of flexibility, feats of endurance, and of course the talent to be able to do a hell of a lot of the bits and pieces. So it's the perfect age to recruit gymnasts when you are a circus. You go to the shows and you're like, okay, you are now approaching you're now past your prime. Instead of continue on doing the competitions, would you be interested in a career doing gymnastics for a circus show? You know? Send a mod to the show? Oh yeah, it'd be great. Only if it includes travel expenses and aftercare. That's alright. I can hold you and stroke your hair. Stroke your hair as you weep into my shoulder, you know? I thought I was watching a new episode of Black Mirror, but it just turns out it was just the news. Yeah. Next party there, do the boilers makeup. Yes, on board it. It was a choice. So that was my weekend, friends. As you can tell, it was a very exciting weekend. I got fuck all sleep throughout the weekend, but it was very exciting. All very, very exciting, for sure. For sure. That comment is loud. Yeah, it so is. Oh, good lord. Oh. Sounds like a fun weekend. It was definitely an experience, and I live for experiences. You know. But it's definitely made me think. Like, obviously, with all of these things, I am like, okay, if this is enough to make people happy, then why the fuck am I slogging my ass off for stuff that's not going to make too much of a difference, you know? But on the other side of things, I'm also like, I know that I could do better shows. So why am I not doing it, you know? How's it going, Pilot Spirit? Hello, you cheeky devil. Hope you're having a great day, evening. Yeah, I've just been ranting about a show I went to see on... talking about the dramas of these street party I was working on Friday and Saturday, and regaling my experience of the horrible Cirque show I went to see on Sunday night, excuse me. It was a whole choice. It was a whole thing, for sure. For sure. Good lord. However, that is where I am wrapping it up, though. That is where I'm wrapping it up. Like I said, I haven't had much sleep, so I'm gonna call it. You know, friends. However, as always.
Hand it to my ego.
Oh my lordy.
Hand it to it.
The red Teletubby always looked so serious, very po-faced.
Oh my god, Zeebs. Good Lord. Are you going to look for another show? At some stage, I will. Yeah. Yeah. I'm enjoying going to shows again. Yeah, definitely enjoying going to shows again. It's good fun. It's good fun. Even if they was shit, it's given me plenty to talk about, you know? It's given me plenty to talk about. I got to stop in and say hello with the time difference. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's always good to see you. Always good to see you. Right, friends, we are going to go and throw some love at another delightful individual. But as always, before we do that, could you do me a massive favor and throw out some mod loves in the channel? Say a massive thank you to those wonderful moderators. You can use any kind of mod love from any kind of channel. You can use any kind of love hearts from any kind of channel. Say a massive thank you to those wonderful mods. Let me get some mod loves. Mods! Thank you so much, you beautiful beings, for being here. I appreciate you being here and looking after us and helping us out and doing all the bits and pieces and banning that fucker earlier. I appreciate that. The Willy Chocolate experience, very different. Very, very different. There was definitely a couple of things from that show that I saw that I literally was like, I could steal that for an erotic circus, for sure. You know? Can you claim ticket expenses back now that you talked about it? Yeah. Technically speaking, yeah. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can, technically speaking. Because now it's my work. This is my work, so it's, yeah, I suppose. I don't think I will. Don't think I want to admit that publicly, that I've spent that much money on those tickets. But I technically can, for sure. For sure. Right, friends, let me have a quick look at we can go throw some love at. Ooh, we haven't seen this beautiful bean in a long time. We haven't seen this beautiful bean in a long, long time. Let's go throw them some love. Let's go throw them some love. Yeah, let's go throw them some love. Friends, if you're a subscriber, please copy and paste the first raid message. If you're not a subscriber, please copy and paste the second raid message. Be careful. Nibirin has put the Tater command in there as well. Put the Tater command in there as well. The cheeky devil that they are. Friends, we are going to go raid an old friend of ours, an old school friend of ours. If you can stick around for the raid, I would really, 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 really appreciate it. So we can go throw some love at Guided Lime Time. Fucking Guided Lime Time. I haven't seen them in fucking ages. I haven't seen them in ages. Friends, if you're not in the raid up here, please, 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 please click on the link that I have just thrown out there. Because sometimes Twitch likes to leave people behind and I'm not bloody having it. I'm not bloody having it, I tell you, all right? So, friends, let's go throw some love at Guided Lime Time. Friends, thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for the raids, the subs, the gift subs, all the cheeky little bitties. Thank you so much for all the follows. Thanks so much for spending your time here and taking part in these conversations. I really, really appreciate it. To all you beautiful lurkers, I appreciate you choosing to listen to my dulcet tones and rambling rants. And also, to all you people watching the VOD on the VODs of Vanity YouTube channel, thank you so much for choosing to bumble your way through our wonderful VODs and watch through. I really, really appreciate it. You're glorious and wonderful. Max, you beautiful bean, thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Friends, do not forget that I will not be streaming on Wednesday. I will be streaming tomorrow. We'll be doing some date everything tomorrow, and I'll be doing an extra stream on Thursday where we're going to be doing a community stream together, but I'll not be streaming on Wednesday because I've got a gig somewhere, so I've got to go out and do that gig. Okay? But I'll be doing Monday, Tuesday, and an extra stream on Thursday this week, just for all of you. I'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. BST. That's 1 p.m. British time for more date everything. Until then, you beautiful beans, don't do anything I wouldn't do, because if I wouldn't do it, I'll fucking kill you. I'll see you later. Bye-bye-bye.